Last year, the Vikes met the Bears on November 20th. The Bears prevailed because of the excellence of that man, number 34, Walter Payton, who sped to a league record 275 yards gained. Every time you look down at the gridiron, there he was, out in the open, amassing yardage. But tonight, he must do it again against those same Vikes, led, as it always seems, by that man, number 10, the quarterback, Francis Tarkenton, who knows how to pick a defense apart. Always, Tarkenton is aided and abetted by that man, number 44, Chuck Foreman, one of the great runners in the league. The Bears against the Vikes, Monday Night Football.
20 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Stand by in videotape. Stand by slow-mo.
Stand by to open your mics on the field.
Stand by in graphics. Ready with your opening supers. Stand by the announcers in the booth, please.
And roll tape. 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
Live from Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, a key NFC Central Division game. The Minnesota Vikings against the unbeaten Chicago Bears. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Buick, who invites you to see your dealer soon and test drive one of the new 79 Buicks. It's a treat you really owe yourself. After all, life is to enjoy. And by Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
There are the standings in the NFC Central Division. At the top, Chicago, unbeaten in 3 games, but it must be noted that the 3 defeated teams combined have only 1 victory among them. Green Bay at a surprising 3-1, and the Vikes, who go against the Bears tonight, had a disappointing for them 1-2. Twice they've been upset. So, if there can be a key game at this stage of the season, this has to be a key game for Minnesota. They could ill afford a 3rd loss. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to our regular Monday Night Football edition. After Oakland last night, where it was 89 degrees, we're in Chicago tonight, and it will be in the low 50s, I think, before the night is over. I'd like to take a quick look at the 2 coaches. I think most of you know about Harry Bud Grant of the Vikings. He's known basically for 2 things. 1, being a stoic. 2, being consistently excellent in the results that he has produced 4 times. He has led the Vikes to the Super Bowl, and he has had the capacity to adapt to change. They've written his team off because of age time and time again, but there has been a gradual influx of youth into that team. Nor has he been that much of a stoic this year. He has had emotional outbursts because of what he feels has been bad officiating that has cost his team. Now, Neil Armstrong, the new coach of the Chicago Bears, a former All-America at Oklahoma State who played up in Canada at Winnipeg with Bud Grant, is a disciple of Bud Grant's. He's more vital in his personality, but his approach to the game is essentially the same, and the Bears will reflect that in their play tonight. For more on the Vikes, Dandy Don Meredith.
Ooh, you know what that is?
What?
That's the Wolves are howling up there in Minneapolis. They're beginning to come after our 18-year veteran old friend Tarkenton pretty good. The Vikes, as you mentioned, have not started off with a real good season. They've sandwiched a victory over the Super Bowl contenders, the Denver Broncos, in between 2 defeats to the Tampa Bay and New Orleans football club. And they really are kind of hollering for old Fran up there after 18 years of a lot of cheers. They're on his back pretty good. I saw a television program a couple of weeks ago that Fran was talking about 2 of the other former quarterbacks who are no longer starting, and he said, well, that's got to happen. One of these days they'll bring a young guy along and he's going to take your place. But in time, that guy, too, will suffer and hear the boos of the fans. Fran, after 18 years, has seen a little bit of all of it. He's playing the Bears tonight, and in the papers up in Minneapolis, they say, you know, Tarkenton leads the leagues in all of these things, most passes completed, but did they know that he also has the most passes completed behind the line of scrimmage? That may be true, may or not be true, I don't know. Against the Bears in 23 games, he's completed something a little bit over 4,500 yards for about a 56% average. He's thrown 34 touchdown passes with 24 interceptions, but this year he's thrown only 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He's not having a good year, and I think the Chicago team is going to really give him a pretty good go for it. What do you think, Frank?
You get a few facts and you're dangerous.
Well, I know. Don't give me a lot of it. I shouldn't read.
We'll never trouble you with facts.
Whoa.
The Chicago Bears, well, they're all fired up. They have a very young football team, a very good football team. They made the playoffs last year for the first time since 1963. Basically, they're still the Chicago Bears. They come at you, they come out of the ground, and they have a history of that. They're a rough, tough football team, of course, going back to their great leader, Papa Bear Hallis, who is sitting right behind us in his own booth and looking rather well tonight. We're glad to hear about that. The quarterback, Bob Avellini, he's not an artistic genius, to say the least, but he gets it done. He's a fiery sort of a quarterback, and he picked up a little help just before the start of the season in Golden Richards out on the left, a fine receiver from the Dallas Cowboys, number 83. And, of course, James Scott, a speedster on the other side, but the key man, as Howard has already touched on, is Walter Payton. Walter Payton is probably, he is the best runner in football today. Until someone comes along to displace him, he can do things other football players can't. He's had a slow start. He hasn't had a run over 16 yards. We're looking for a lot of runs from Walter Payton tonight because he is that kind of football player. A well-rounded team, a very young team. They go against a veteran Minnesota Viking team. They think they can unseat them. We'll be back with the kickoff. A sellout crowd in venerable old Soldier Field, Chicago, over 57,000 in the new configuration. You're looking at Bob Thomas of the Chicago Bears. He will kick off deep for the Minnesota Vikings, number 87, Kevin Miller, a rookie out of Louisville, a specialist in returning kicks, something the Vikings have not been doing well this year. It is a windy night. The ball has just blown off the tee. Bob Thomas will set it up. The Chicago Bears undefeated. We might point out that while they are undefeated, the teams that they have defeated have won a combined total of 1 game. The Minnesota Vikings, however, off to a weak start. They lost to New Orleans. They lost to Tampa last week, and in between they beat Denver. We're underway. Thomas drills it to the goal line, and this is Kevin Miller. And Miller out over the 30-yard line to about the 32-yard line, where Minnesota will take over 1st and 10. Their quarterback, Fran Tarkenton, apparently unconcerned about all the comments being made about him. He's been around a while. The setbacks, Ricky Young, 34. Number 44, Chuck Foreman. Wide receivers, 85, Sammy White. Ahmad Rashad, number 28, is on the left side most of the time. The tight end starting tonight, Bob Tucker, number 38. A veteran offensive line. 2 real fine tackles, maybe the best in the business on the right side. That, of course, Ron Yeri. 1st and 10, 33-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Handoff goes, and it's Young. And Young finds an opening and slithers forward to about the 37-yard line. It's a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Defensively, Tom Hicks made the stop. He's in the middle, number 54. As you look at the front 4, Mike Hartenstein on the right side, 73. Rydalch, Osborne, Tommy Hart, acquired from San Francisco, and he's provided the pass rush the Bears have not had. Look at the linebackers you just saw a moment ago, and Hicks has been one of the keys, that middle linebacker, and there is your defensive secondary as Tarkenton brings the Vikes up on 2nd down and 5. This is Foreman, and Foreman out close to a 1st down. I believe he has it beyond the 43-yard line, hit there by Doug Plank.
2 consecutive rushes by the Vikings, 1 for an apparent 1st down. Yes, it is. They're moving the sticks now. And that's been a telltale failure of the Vikes this year. There's been an imbalance between their rushing and passing game. They've been passing 40 and more times per game on average. No team won a game in the NFL last year passing more than 40 times in a game.
On 1st and 10, the ball just short of the 44-yard line. Ricky Young follows Foreman, finds an opening, and Young is out to the 49-yard line. He'll get about 5 out of that. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Doug Plank made the stop, and the Vikings, of course, have had their problems principally because of turnovers. Tarkenton with 9 interceptions. That's incredible for him. 76 when he took the Vikings to the Super Bowl. He only threw 6 interceptions the entire season. They have also turned it over on fumbles a number of times. That is not the Minnesota Vikings that Bud Grant has directed over the years to so many successes. 2nd down. They mark it just short of the 50. Ahmad Rashad, top of your screen, with Sammy White. And the call is Ricky Young. Left side and Ricky Young. Close to another first down. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. Is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. We'll have another measurement, and Fran is keeping it on the ground.
Exactly what the Minnesota game plan is. Incidentally, you remember Big Ed White, the offensive guard, traded to San Diego for Ricky Young. Mike Lynn, the general manager of the Vikes, was telling me today that not only is Fran getting it, he's getting it from the local press up there. They're saying he traded away a chance for the Super Bowl with Ed White. Well, he says, if I did that, how come the Chargers are 1-3 and just changed coaches?
Let's take a quick shot at that last play. We'll see that George Foreman does a lot of other things besides run. I mean, not George. Well, I'm talking about Chuck. You remember George, too. He hits like George Foreman, what I was going to say, on Tom Hicks, that middle linebacker, number 54. That makes everything elephant okay here in Chicago tonight.
George Foreman did a lot of things, too.
Yes, he does. But he couldn't block Tom Hicks that way.
Lions, Tigers, and a pulverizing puncher against the right opponent.
I was talking about. I mean, he's old Foreman over there. 44 came through there and hit 54. That's what it was. It was a good block.
Short yardage offense. You saw how much. Inches for a first down.
Whoop.
And hurtling over the top is Mr. Acrobat himself, Chuck Foreman. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Chuck Foreman, who can do so many things so well. He doesn't have the blazing speed. He never rips off the long runs, but he can twist and turn like a plastic man.
He's quick, Frank. He's timed for only 4.9 in the 40, unlike many of the great runners in the league. But he is so quick.
Plastic man, he said. Did you hear that?
Well, he bends, he twists the body around, and obviously the call going against the Bears. Here it is.
All right.
Offsides, first down, Minnesota inside the 42-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Breezy, cool night. Capacity crowd, this town of Chicago, fired up about this young team. The Bears undefeated. Harkin is firing out to Ahmad Rashad. Rashad collects it. Out around the 33-yard line, covered there by Terry Stewart and Gary Fensick.
In fairness to Tarkenton, who's had all the local criticism that Dunn was talking about, we have seen his receivers consistently dropping passes. In the Monday night game against Denver, that was the trademark of Sammy White and Rashad. Today, Rashad told me, I don't know what's been wrong, but it's not my eyes. I do wear contacts, but I can see the ball. I'll prove myself all over again tonight. We shall see.
Rashad gets 9 yards, second down and 1. Ball inside the 33. Ricky Young on a play-action fake. Tarkenton wants 6. Hangs it high. Intended for Sammy White.
He got it.
Touchdown.
He got it.
Sammy White on a perfectly thrown pass, working deep down there against defensive secondary man Virgil Livers.
He also had Terry Schmidt over there too, Frank, number 44. And Schmidt's trademark as a defensive cornerback is to play very deep. You'll see that started this off with the play-action pass. A fake in the middle, pretty good fake. The ball is just right in there perfectly. That's not real bad defensive coverage. He had a step on him. The ball was right there, and there's 6.
So Tarkenton answers some of his critics on his second pass of the night. A 33-yard touchdown as Rick Danmeyer hits the conversion. 7-0. The Minnesota Vikings with 12-11 remaining in the first quarter. And let's watch Sammy White. He has blazing speed.
He starts in from that slight motion. He comes in. You'll see number 44 right there, Terry Schmidt. They just completed the ball to Rashad in front of Schmidt earlier. Schmidt, he goes back about 12 yards deep. That's a little bit too deep for that. Had to slow down a little bit. That's just good concentration by Sammy. Kept his eye on that ball and made 6. And we're going to come right back in just a moment.
Minnesota has struck quickly. 33-yard touchdown pass. Fran Tarkenton, Sammy White, set to kick off. Mike Wood. Wood drills it. Bobbled by Mike Morgan, the rookie from Wisconsin. Picks it up and gets underway and finds an opening. Flag is down at the 30-yard line, and so is Morgan. And while we figure out the penalty, let's take one quick look at it.
There's some question in our truck whether Sammy White had both feet in. We'll take a look here and see if we can determine. One of the things that was brought up too in this intermission was that, boy, it looked like Schmidt was right going to be there. He has that 1 foot in.
No question. Touchdown, no question.
Well, he was knocked out by the defender. And
good point, Don.
If that is the case, then is a completed ball. If he was in that inbounds, there you
By the
go.
receivers during the run back, number 57, first down.
Holding against Reeves of the Bears, and it moves the Bears back to their own 20-yard line. Bob Avelina, the quarterback, number 7. Payton is 34. Roland Harper is 35. Both of them come into this game with 240 yards rushing. Golden Richards, 83, is in motion. He's one wide receiver. This is Walter Payton. Left side, and Payton lunges forward to the 24-yard line. You saw the setbacks. Golden Richards, as I said, one wide receiver. James Scott, 89, the other. Greg Latta, 88, one tight end. Questionable offensive line. They're young. They're getting better with each game.
Jackson and Sorey are good guards. There are a couple of good guards in there, Frank. As you say, they are young, but they open up some holes in there and get out in front of Payton and Harper.
And they don't need much of an opening for Walter Payton. 2nd down and 6, and Harper gets the call. And Harper upended and sprawls out to the 30-yard line. He's close to the first down. I believe he has it.
Kind of an unusual statistic that you have two running backs that have exactly the same yardage, and that's what Payton and Harper had coming into this game, was 240 yards apiece. You saw Payton lead the way, and Harper just kind of picked his way, moved on outside. About, what is that, just right at that, almost a first down.
Bob Avelini, his record, a marker just short of the 30, so it'll be inches to go on 3rd down. Robin Earl comes in. Earl comes in at the wingback spot, and Bob Avelini carries it himself, and a flag is down.
What's troubling the Bears coaching staff is that Chicago has lost a lot of its rushing efficiency as we wait for the call on this.
Indication against Minnesota. It'll be a first down either way, and of course penalty will be walked off because it's a 5-yard assessment. Let's take a quick look at this Minnesota defense.
Offside on the defense, number 54, first down.
Fred McNeil jumped across. He's a linebacker as we look at the front 4 of the Minnesota Vikings. And those are your linebackers. In the middle, Jeff Seaman. He's one of the best around. In the secondary, a lot of wisdom back there. As you notice, Paul Krause is not starting tonight. Tom Hannon starting in free safety. Krause, of course, 1 interception away from the all-time NFL record. Avelini on 1st and 10, has the time, goes out to Golden Richards, and Richard is hit by Phil Wise, and a flag goes down. Wise is protesting. Wise, the ball, and Richards all arrived at the same moment.
Looks like to me, Frank, from up here, we'll take a look, that the ball's a little bit underthrown, and old Golden Richards there tries to make a move back in for it, and when he did, that's when we had Phil.
Pass interference, number 29 on the defense, first down.
I think you're exactly right, Don.
Well, I think it is a penalty, though. What I'm saying is that Wise came after the ball, too, but he can't really interfere with that receiver's right to catch the ball first.
But Golden was coming back toward him because Golden sensed an interception by Wise that would have been an easy touchdown.
1st and 10, the ball at the 43-yard line of the Bears. The Vikings leading 7-0. Tarkenton, 33-yard touchdown pass, Sammy White. Roland Harper cuts back, spots an opening, and gets over midfield. Gain of 9. Roland Harper, nifty running. Highly underrated, and of course you would be playing in the backfield with Walter Payton.
Right. But now they're doing exactly what Neil Armstrong has been looking for. I said before they were down 70% in their rushing efficiency from a year ago, earning only 3.86 yards per carry. In fact, they've lost up till tonight more ground relative to the NFL than any other team on yards per rush, which is unusual for a team with Walter Payton.
2nd down, the ball at the 49-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. A little more than a yard to go for a first. Golden Richards in motion. Harper gets the call and is hit over in the right side. Alan Page sliding off the block of Noah Jackson along with Jim Marshall made the stop short of the first down. There's some graybeards in that line for Minnesota. Jim Marshall, every time he starts a game, he sets a new NFL record. This is his 254th consecutive start for the, well, Minnesota Vikings, the Cleveland Browns, and of course before that he played a little up in Canada. Third down. About a yard and a half to go for the first down. Harper left side, Harper first down. Harper actually, while he came into this game at 240 yards, the same as Walter Payton was averaging, almost 5 yards and a tip, while Payton, not having had a gain of more than 16 yards, was averaging a little over 3 yards a carry.
The Bears are one team that have complained about the shortened preseason period, and they particularly point to Payton's results. They say he really didn't play very much, played 4 plays, I think, in the first preseason, came in, played a couple of plays the second preseason, hurt his shoulder. They feel he really hasn't had the work that's necessary to get him to his peak form.
1st and 10. Ball 47-yard line of Minnesota. Play action by Avellini. Hangs it up. He had to hurry it, and it's almost picked off down there by Nate Wright. And Avellini was really popped.
He is still down.
Doug Sutherland got in there.
He's a tough kid, Avellini, from Maryland. He's had to struggle to become the top quarterback. Remember when Mike Phipps was brought in here, apparently to become that? Avellini fought him off, and he's gained a respect around the league that he did not have a couple of years ago. And Golden Richards has given him a new dimension, too. Another man to throw to. There's Bob getting hit and hit.
Well, he just kept right on. That was Sutherland, as you mentioned, but that weight of Sutherland on top of him against that hard carpet, and here you go.
Roland Harper's the ball carrier on 2nd and 10, and the flag goes down, and finally Harper goes down at the 45-yard line in the arms of Matt Blair. Flag down. You saw the preliminary indication, holding, and it'll go against the Bears. We've talked often. We've seen Minnesota 3 times already this year about the fine linebackers they have. Matt Blair, Jeff Seaman in the middle, Fred McNeil.
They've got a 4th, Frank, Scott Studwell from Illinois, who's come along tremendously well, but who will not be seeing action tonight.
Holding by the offense, number 65.
There's the call. He'll not be seeing action tonight, Studwell, because of a deep groin pull.
Nicely put.
The call against Noah Jackson, left guard of the Bears. 2nd down, 21 yards. Ball is on the Bears' 43-yard line. 8:19 remaining in the first quarter. Minnesota leading 7-0. This time Avellini has the time, and it's Golden Richards.
Golden Richards!
Golden struggling to get back to the first down, and he stopped at the 40-yard line. 3 yards short of a first down by Matt Blair.
That's exactly what I meant about what Golden Richards means to this team. Formerly, there was only James Scott as the deep threat with the great speed. As you watch it again,
he got that ball off just in time. There's a good pattern. Richards came in from the wide side. They ran a little crisscrossing route. Had him come across. James Scott cleared it out. Came from the left all the way across. Takes some time to get that pattern off. Weiss just didn't keep up with him. Golden's got the good speed. Dallas had a lot of good receivers and were able to make a trade.
3rd down 3, and Avellini loses the handle, tries to fall on it, and it's going to be number 77, Mark Mullaney, and he flips it out to Matt Blair.
And that's gone. And there's a flag.
Flag is down.
Wonderful things are happening in Soldier Field.
well, it's Monday Night Football after all.
Avellini dropped the ball, picked up by Mullaney. He threw it out to Matt Blair. Downfield, I think that number 69, Doug Sutherland, will be called for clipping.
I think they may bring it back, too, where the ball was picked up. They think maybe he was touched down there, Frank.
Well, we've got the debate now by the officials. Referee tonight is Red Cashin.
I'm wondering if they think it's a forward lateral, not a lateral. Nope.
Holding, and it was indicated it would have to be against the Bears to make it a touchdown. It was indicated, I'm sure, by error against the Minnesota Vikings. A 49-yard touchdown. Mullaney lateraling to Matt Blair. And he did just correct himself. The indication was wrong. And, of course, understandable with the confusion of that play.
This is the way Oakland got off last night against New England. Then New England spent the rest of the game coming back and winning in the final seconds of play. Chicago's going to have to show that it has the same capacity tonight that New England had last night.
Tell you, Howard, they're meeting up with a fired team tonight in Minnesota. They're a veteran ball club, but they were stung last week with all the criticism after the loss to Tampa. Dan Meyer puts it in the air. It's good. Minnesota leads 14-0. Let's take a look at this one again. Avellini bobbles the ball, never gets the handle on it. Mullaney, defensive left end, coming in as Avellini bobbles it again. Heads up, Matt Blair.
You could see clearly there that it was a lateral, and Blair just rambles in.
So Minnesota with 7:19 remaining in the first quarter has a 14-0 lead over the unbeaten Chicago Bears. Minnesota has stung Chicago with 2 long scoring touchdowns. Set to kick off is Mike Wood. And this is Mike Morgan, and he bobbles it again. And this time is not so fortunate as he is upended at the 23-yard line by Tom Hannon.
All right, another look at that touchdown, the bobble by Avellini.
He just pulled away too quickly, didn't he?
Now he thinks he's got it, but he blows it again. Mullaney picks it up quick-wittedly. Laterals there to Matt Blair. And after that, just as I said, a ramble. Blair, by the way, Don, has excellent speed for his size.
Yes, he does. He outran several of those people out there. Of course, he had a head start on most of them.
24-yard line of the Bears. And they better get something moving. You let Minnesota get in front of you, they are tough. Play action, Avellini up in the air, and he goes out to number 89. That's James Scott defending Nate Wright. And he timed his defense with the ball as it made contact with Scott. Keep in mind, a defender can play the ball.
James Scott wound up here on the advice or the recommendation of Virgil Carter, who played with him in the World Football League. That looks like to me as pass interference, but I always say those things about pass interference, you know what I mean? He got there pretty quick. You're not supposed to touch the receiver before you hit that ball. So it looked like to me
I thought he hit the ball.
Well, what do you know?
Second down and 10.
I'll answer that later.
Okay. Walter Payton. Payton slides by one defensive lineman, number 59, Matt Blair, and is taken out of bounds by Tom Hannon. He picks up 3 yards.
You're talking, as we look at Bud Grant, about James Scott, who is a fine wide receiver and whom Virgil Carter did recommend. But in point of fact, James Scott came up with the Jets, did not get along with the then coach, Lou Holtz, who later made his name again in the college coaching ranks at Arkansas, and Holtz didn't want him around. Thus, Scott was made available, and Chicago, with their scouting reports and Carter's recommendation, picked him up. He's been a 10-strike. He's a quality grade A receiver.
Third down, 7. 3 wide receivers. Steve Schubert comes in, along with Richards and Scott. Man open is Harper. Harper holds on as he is popped there by number 29, Phil Wise, who'll be short of the first down at the 32-yard line. That will bring up 4th down. Roland Harper, he's a little bit like Ricky Young if you want to make comparisons of the Minnesota Vikings. Good runner, fine receiver.
We still have 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter.
Parsons set to punt. Deep is Kevin Miller. Minus yardage on his returns thus far this year, but Minnesota likes to go for the block. Parsons hangs one high. And Kevin Miller very wisely calls for and makes the catch at the 24-yard line. So Minnesota leading 14-0. Will take over 1st and 10 at their own 24 when we return. Walter Payton, and what a remarkable record that is. This young man out of Jackson State having a slow start this year. But there will be many miles more covered by Walter Payton before it's over. 1st and 10, Minnesota. The ball at their own 24-yard line. Chuck Foreman
stumbled for 5.
He gets more out of nothing than any back I think I've ever seen. He's out to the 30-yard line, gets 5 yards, hit at the line of scrimmage, twisted loose, and finally dropped by Doug Buffone.
4 yards to go for the Vikings.
You know, his short career, and it only began 5 years ago, this being his 6th year, he's over 7,700 yards of offense.
Averaging 983 yards rushing per season, which is really a remarkable figure.
Led the league 1 year in receiving. 2nd and 5. Ricky Young, Foreman with a good block. And Ricky Young has the first down out over the 35 to the 36-yard line. Good block by Wes Hamilton out there, number 61. Wes Hamilton, of course, is the man that replaced Ed White, who went to San Diego. And, of course, Ricky Young came to Minnesota from San Diego for Ed Young.
There's old Chuck or George, one of them, that gets out there, throws a heck of a block on Doug Buffon, number 55, the veteran of many years, 15 to be exact. Couldn't quite catch up with him. Came from behind, and they picked up us Jerry Muckensturm.
First and 10 at the 37-yard line. Chuck Foreman gets the call, and Foreman this time nailed the line of scrimmage.
Buffon got it twice on that last play, Don. First from Foreman, second as he fought off Foreman's block. He finally got it from Charlie Goodrum, 68.
Some folks just don't learn, do they?
Well, Buffon's had a lot of years to find out.
Yeah, he really had.
Neil Armstrong has changed his defensive alignment to a 3-4. Gary Campbell, Tom Hicks, Buckenstern, Buffon, the linebackers. Tommy Hart, Jim Osborne, Mike Hartenstein, the 3 down men. Second down and 9. Carpenter, draw play. And off to Foreman, and Foreman finds the going a little rough, but gets out to the 41, 42-yard line, where it'll be third down and 7.
That was Hicks, wasn't it? Stepped up in the middle linebacker. They really do like him, and he's got all of the things that they say they look for, the speed and quickness and size. But that one ingredient, that intuitive feel of knowing where the ball is.
You know, they haven't lost a regular season game since Hicks became their starter at middle linebacker. Big, tough youngster out of the University of Illinois, and a 6th-round draft pick that's really made good.
Hometown boy.
Third down, 7.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Screen back to Ricky Young, but the lineman didn't get out to help. Ricky Young does a little on his own, gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's all, 4th down.
He was stopped by number 45, a kid named Gary Fensick from Yale. That's some kid, that Fensick. I know something about him. He's made himself into a quality player, and there he is, one of the toughest one-on-one tacklers in the league.
Mike Wood is in to do the punting. Steve Schubert is deep. Single safety for the Bears as they put 10 men on the line of scrimmage. And they send them too.
Oh, they got it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That scramble down around the 17-yard line, and the Bears were going all the way for the block. They put 1 man back, 10 men on the line of scrimmage, and away they went.
Boy, there was about 4 or 5 guys that looked like got through there, too. I don't think they blocked anybody. Here it is again.
This is from Mike Wood's point of view, and it's rather terrifying.
Nobody. He pulled. Wait a minute. Can you run that back just a minute?
That is Walter Scheid that makes the block. Art Best was also there. And then comes the scramble.
Nobody even blocked Walter Scheid. He was lined up right in the slot between the center and the guard. The up back made the decision for some reason to go across and block, and nobody touched it.
For the Bears, down 14-0 with 2:45 remaining in the first quarter, have a big break. Inside the 16-yard line, or the 14-yard line, and Walter Payton does his thing down inside the 10. Gain of 4, second down and 6. Jeff Seaman made the stop.
Point is, the Bears made the break they needed to get the field position they have and to start their comeback against a Minnesota team that is fired up and that took a quick 14-0 lead.
Out of the huddle and out to the left goes Scott. Richards right. Second down, 6. They'll make the first down inside the 4-yard line. Walter Payton, again, same spot. Puts the ball forward, but they'll bring it back close to the 6-yard line. Jim Marshall made the stop. It'll be third down and call it a long 2. Walter Payton, 5'11", a 202-pounder. Runs like a 240-pounder.
Good-looking guy, isn't it?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
So is his older brother.
Yeah, he's doing well, too, isn't he? He ran one.
Kick runner.
Yep. Didn't run it all the way back, but he got a lot of yards on it.
Important play for the Bears. Payton gets the call. Hurdles forward. He will not get the first down. He gets to the 5, and a flag goes down.
Somebody had some good penetration on the defensive front four. Offsides, I suppose, against the Vikes. If the crowd reaction is an indication.
That's indeed what it is. That will bring up a first down. Bears adjusting their alignment as the Minnesota Vikings send in their goal line defense.
54 on the defense, offside, first down.
It's twice for him.
Bo Rather comes in for the Bears. The Vikings adjust to their goal line defense. Robin Earl comes in, number 39. He lines up as a tight end because the second tight end, Mike Cobb, is injured. He could play tonight, but they're going to try and get away without having to play him. Walter Payton.
Yes, sir. In there.
Touchdown. Squirting through a little trap block, Payton into the end zone. And the Bears are on the scoreboard, set up by a block punt.
You see Noah Jackson, number 65, big guard after this is over. He knows he did his job, but watch him when he goes through. He comes in there and sees a touchdown, starts jumping up and down. He says, that's what I wanted. I wanted 6.
Boy, he did a number on Doug Sutherland. He
Put him away.
perfectly
He did.
executed.
Put him out of the ballpark.
Well, not out, but he put him down on the floor.
Bob Thomas for the conversion.
There's movement in the line.
A whole bunch of movement in the line.
Oh, I like it here in Chicago.
Procedure call will go against the Bears, and that will extend Bob Thomas's effort by 5 yards. Bob Thomas has quite a mark coming in for the Bears. He's 5 of 5 in the field goal department.
Well, Mac Percival has the record, doesn't he? I read that he was a school teacher friend of mine down in Dallas. We played a little bit. I think he hit 10 in a row field goals.
They declined the penalty.
False start, number 65 on the offense, decline.
Noah was still celebrating.
They declined the penalty because
Why?
Because many find it harder to kick from that point. They find more space to her angle from 5 yards further out.
Ah, so it was the angle they were looking for.
Bob Thomas will give it another go. Another flag is down.
Offsides against the Vikings.
Minnesota offside this time. It becomes academic. This one also will be declined, and the Bears are on the board with 7. The Vikings leading 14-7 with 1:25 remaining in the first quarter. We'll be coming back to Chicago in a moment. Penalty will be assessed against the Minnesota Vikings on the kickoff. That means Bob Thomas will set the ball up at the 40-yard line. Deep is Kevin Miller, number 87. There is Kevin, free agent rookie out of Louisville.
From the extra point attempt, Bears will kick off from the 40.
Thomas gets a hefty leg into it, and Kevin Miller will stay in the end zone. Touchback. And Minnesota with a 7-point lead will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Van Tarkenton on target thus far tonight, 2 for 2. Came in tonight with a fine percentage. It's just the interceptions, and like Kenny Stabler, a couple of those have been deflections. Correction, he is now 3 for 3. Averaging just under 60%. And with the 3 for 3, he should have reached that 60% mark. 1st and 10. This is Foreman. And Foreman hurries out to about the 22-yard line. Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Brought down by Campbell. A gain of 2 yards.
Gary Campbell
Down, 8 yards
in on the
to go.
stop.
Vikings
Number
at
59,
22.
second-year man out of Colorado. Been around a little bit, Gary Campbell. He's came as a free agent to the Bears last year, but he was with the Steelers as a 10th round draft pick. He was cut there, went up to Calgary, was cut there, and now he's starting for the Bears. Ricky Young. A lot of folks out front as Ricky Young turns it upfield. That's close to the 29-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 1. Hartenstein hustling over from the far side of the field to make the stop.
3rd down, 1 yard to go for Minnesota.
The Bears readjust out of their 3-4. In comes Rydalt. They're back in their 4-3. Seconds ticking away, and I think that the Minnesota Vikings will let the time expire here in the first quarter.
Pick up that wind to their back this time now, Shake.
And they'll turn it around, and they'll have the win. And there it is. That's the end of the first quarter. The Vikings, 2 long scoring plays. The Bear with their touchdown to make it 14-7. Soldier Field in Chicago. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell. Don Meredith. It's 14-7 in, well, it's a 16-game season, but it's a key game, I do believe, for the Minnesota Vikings. They are 1-2 on the season. They have a tough schedule, if you could say it. Well, it's tougher, I believe, than the Chicago Bears will meet over the course of the season. They'll play Oakland. They'll play Dallas. You'll see that on a Thursday night telecast of ours later in the season. Right now, the Vikings have 3rd down, a long one. The ball at their own 29-yard line. Foreman goes outside.
Good move.
And turns the corner. Plank makes the save, but it's down around the 49-yard line, make it at midfield.
He got that outside move, Frank. They came up on the outside trying to close him off. Looked like it was Campbell, missed the tackle. Pretty good block out there. Let's see, we check it again. Not too much fancy, trying to pull out in front. You'll see Tom Hicks try to get over there. He didn't make it in time. Nice block downfield. And here comes Plank.
Ball resting right at the 50-yard line.
We must have seen that picture at Chuck 42 times.
Brent McClanahan is in. He's number 33. The motion man, Sammy White. Tarkenton. Intended for Rashad. Rashad open, slightly overthrown, incomplete.
Was intended for Rashad. On the coverage for the Bears.
That's Talk's first incomplete pass, but he's been throwing sparingly as the Vikes have stuck to the ground.
And that's really what anybody likes to do, but particularly Fran, because if he can get that running game going, he can dump that little shot off to the same kind of guys that have been running with it, and that makes it a very effective offense.
2nd down, 10. Ball right at midfield. Tarkenton. That's quickly, and he goes out again to Rashad, and Rashad doesn't hold on this time.
He's trying to work, as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, on Terry Schmidt, number 44, at his defensive position. He lines up so deep, at least 10 yards deep. Doesn't have great speed. He's trying to protect that speed, so if you can work over in front of him, then kind of get him to come up on that out and go with Rashad's speed or Sammy White's speed, you got 6.
Just that easy.
Make it sound that easy anyway.
Well, it is easy to do those things work.
In any event, Tarkenton has worked himself in a must-pass situation now. 3rd down, 10. Flag goes down. And Tarkenton's going down.
He did.
Back at the 40-yard line. Tommy Hart made the stop, and a flag was down at the 40-yard line in an area which would indicate there's going to be a holding call also against Minnesota.
The Dipsy Doodle no longer Dipsy Doos.
That's true, and it's interesting to see how quickly things can change in the wake of a turnover. Minnesota got a touchdown on a turnover.
Number 78 declined. It'll be 4th down.
Okay, the call, the declination of the penalty, and then on the block kick and the turnover, Chicago was set up, and ever since they've had the momentum.
I think, the fans are going to say, okay, they've been running. Foreman makes a big run, 1st down. He throws twice, incomplete. The 3rd pass was a quarterback trap. Offense stopped.
This is Mike Wood, and deep is Steve Schubert for Chicago. And the Bears go for another one and just misses. Schubert will have to do it on his own from the 15-yard line. When you go for a block punt, well, you are not going to get an opportunity to set up your picket line. It makes it a little dangerous for those receivers downfield. It's 14-7. We're in the 2nd quarter, and we'll be right back. Rounding out the 7 regional games, Alcorn State versus South Carolina State. Boise State against Montana State, and Hobart goes against St. Lawrence all over most of these ABC stations. Consult your local listing for the game you'll see in your area. The Bears, 1st and 10, the ball at their own 23-yard line. And you sense the momentum is beginning to swing. Minnesota had a 14-0 lead. The Bears blocked the punt. Peyton got a 3-yard touchdown. It's 1 touchdown difference at this point, and here comes Peyton again. Hit this time initially by Alan Page.
Let me ask you a direct question. In that last Minnesota series, after Foreman made the long jaunt for the first down, with Minnesota moving on the ground, would you have switched to the air down the way Talk did?
I just talking about that. I don't know. I think what the idea that he was doing was trying to hit something short. He didn't do it. Because he didn't, it put him in trouble. But if you got something going, you really want to kind of stick with it.
2nd down 9. Avellini fires out to Golden Richards, and it's complete for a 1st down. Out at the 36-yard line. Nate Wright made the stop.
And once again, Avellini received some pretty good punishment.
And a flag went down. And
Doug Sutherland.
Penalty.
I think it probably will be called on Sutherland.
Roughing the passer, you think?
I think so, but we'll of course wait and see. It's true. If that's true, that'll be tagged on at the end, and that looks like what they're doing. Kind of overdoing it, but we have mentioned so many times the injury factor.
Roughing the passer, number 69 on the defense, 1st down.
I don't think they're overdoing it. Something's got to be done to protect the quarterback. As I mentioned last night, the AFC has been wrecked by quarterback injuries. Greasy, Jones, Anderson, and the latest Richard Todd.
The 1st down is at the 49-yard line of Minnesota. Walter Payton. And Payton nowhere to go as he runs into Fred McNeil and number 70, Jim Marshall.
Fred McNeil did do a good job turning that back in.
And Jeff Seaman was there.
That's exactly what they do. You turn them in and I'll get them. Put them in the corral and I'll brand them. But Seaman comes from the middle. Got good pressure on the right sideline. You can't see Page, but Page made some penetration. There he comes. Held up the blocks. McNeil turns it back in, and there's Seaman coming down the line with help from Page in the inside.
Stopped right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Golden Richards goes to the top of your screen. Payton adjusts.
Yeah.
This is Harper. And Harper with a nifty move gets away from Fred McNeil.
Still up. All right. What a move. What a move.
A really great play by Roland Harper. Frank told you at the beginning of tonight's telecast that he has gained as much yardage going into this game as Walter Payton. He is having a fine year, and that play a brilliant individual demonstration. Watch it.
They bring it back to the 39, but it's worth watching again. Look at this move against McNeil. He just left McNeil gasping for air.
And was that Seaman there?
Seaman misses.
Great balance.
Isn't that incredible? Still on his feet.
McNeil came back, got another shot at him, and couldn't get him down. One of his own men finally put him down. Says, stay down. That's the kind of change of pace pattern, I think, Howard, that you were talking, maybe referring to when the Vikings had on offense. When you've got a running game going, the greatest thing you can do is throw in the safe kind of pass, the little swing patterns. And throughout the years, Fran has done that really better than anybody that I've ever seen, utilizing a pass really in a very safe manner. I don't know what his statistics are lifetime, but I know that Fran's way over 50%. So that's the kind of patterns that you throw to keep that percentage up and also keep a drive going.
The Bears, 1st and 10, 39-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears down by a touchdown. 12 minutes remaining in the 1st half. Richards in motion. This is Walter Payton, his best play, and he slips and goes down. Payton loves to take it to the outside, turn it upfield, cut against the grain. He's so quick.
He did just slip, didn't he? I don't think anybody got him. He hit him.
Eller, who has come into the ball game for Mulaney, made sure after the slip that he stayed there.
Let's see if he falls over his own man.
Well, he's got Harper
back to us.
In front of him. There's a fairly good block out there by Dennis Lick, but not quite. I think he just slipped, trying to cut to the outside there.
2nd down, 10. James Scott to the left, Golden Richards, top of your screen. Richards now in motion.
Comes the blitz.
Avellini.
Up in the air.
Lynch has to hurry the throw intended for James Scott. Incomplete.
Didn't have time to get it off, but that time Golden Richards was about, I'd say, 12 to 15 yards behind everybody.
Oh, he was 6 points, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 10 for Bob Avellini. His stats on the year coming into tonight's game, a little over 45%, 1 touchdown, but he has had only 1 interception.
He hit 9 out of 12 last week against Detroit. Had 1 drop. By far his best performance as a passer so far this year.
They did a 19-0 tattoo on Detroit. They did it in the air and on the ground. Steve Sherbert now, wide receiver, is in, along with Scott and Richards on 3rd and 10. Avellini has the time, fires over the middle. William Harper doesn't hold on, and a flag is down.
Has to be for that bump rule, whatever the thing is. You can see him prancing around out there on the Bear side. They're saying, hey, wait a minute, he didn't do that. He hit me.
Illegal chuck.
I think that was Schubert, maybe.
That bump rule, we might clarify. I know you've heard it many times if you've been following the game this year. You cannot hit that receiver after he gets 5 yards downfield.
Illegal contact by the defense. Number 25, 1st down.
Nate Allen, the guilty Minnesota Viking, and the 1st down is at the 34-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings.
So the Bears are coming back into this more promptly than New England did last night.
Harper spots a little opening, cuts back, runs into a group of Vikings.
Page was the guy that moved.
Page at the bottom.
Yeah, he moved down the line really very quickly, Frank, to slow that thing up at the beginning. It's kind of interesting looking at the quarterback traps this year. Alan Page does not have one, which is really unusual for him. That's been his forte. Chester, a la. So far, he's off to a slow start. Mullaney, the big guy on the end in place of Carl Eller, leads them with 3. Carl Eller has 2.
Vikings now set up in a 3-4. Wally Hilgenberg is in, number 58. 2nd down, 8. Avellini to the air.
Got him.
Wide open. And Avellini delivers to Golden Richards. He has another Bear 1st down.
I think as you watch this game, you can see the difference Golden Richards has made to this team's attack. When you've got 2 speedsters to throw to, like Richards and Scott, you've got a whole different ball game. Then you start doubling on them, and you got new troubles.
You can see that Nate Wright is giving him plenty of room, number 43. That was not exceptionally outstanding move on Golden's part, but everybody knows how fast he can run.
Don, they questioned the strength of Avellini's arm. He really hung that out there. Zipped it. Here comes Payton. And Payton is down to the 17-yard line. Gets 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Mark Mullaney hustles over there to make the stop.
And a shot of Tom Hennon, too, Frank, number 45, came in. You mentioned at the top of the show. He's playing. Paul Krause has been hurt a little bit, but the word is he's really not hurt that badly anymore, and Hannon's kind of moved in. Krause has been around for a while, too.
They needed some speed back there. Hannon's the 2nd-year man from Michigan State. He's quick and he's tough.
3rd-round draft pick, and of course Paul Krause, as we said earlier, is 1 short of the all-time NFL interception record of the late M. Tunnell. Krause has 78, Tunnell 79. Of course, here comes Payton, and there's an opening. Oh, and does he read it when he sees it? This accelerates.
I think that's the kind of move, Frank, that's most effective against the Vikings defense, just because they read so quickly, particularly on Page. Page will take a move. He'll try to read out real quick, he'll commit to one side of the block or another. How about that one?
Payton again, close to a 1st down. They'll get a measurement. Obviously, they're a 2-runner team.
Their run-pass balance, the Bears that is, leads the league with 2.4 rushes for each pass attempt. The Demon statistician, as we look at the measurement, just a touch shy. Bud Goody holds to the theorem that if your rushes outweigh your passes by that margin, you're going to be, on average, the winning team. So far, the statistics seem to bear him out.
Bears working away on the clock. They got the benefit of a couple of key penalties. Roughing the passer, a major one after a completion. It was tacked on for over a 20-yard pickup.
But not really as important as that other penalty, Frank, when it was
illegal chuck.
Third down incompleted pass, and now they started all over with a first down.
Third down, short yardage. Robin Earl comes in at tight end, number 39. Avellini on his own. Moves behind Dan Neal and his two guards, Jackson and Sorry.
There's Francis. Can't be happy about the turn of the events. You get a quick 14-0 lead. You hate to see it evaporate this quickly. There are still 9 minutes to go.
And they want to measure again. Not quite sure whether Avellini's surge carried him forward.
We saw an outstanding running quarterback last night, didn't we?
Grogan with that quarterback bootleg. He pulled it the prior week against Baltimore, too. We'll see that play at halftime, Dandy, all over again.
When I see Grogan run, he really...
First down.
Oh, that's close. He is that other back out there in the backfield. Now, when he throws...
Yes.
He's that other quarterback out there.
Bears have a first down at the inside the 13-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. They trail the Bears 14-7, but this game is turned around. The Vikings scored 14 quick ones, and then the Bears have taken charge. They've held the ball for 5 minutes and 30 seconds on this drive.
Oh, hold it.
Movement on the left side. Looked like Ted Albrecht.
I think that's old Noah, wasn't it?
Or Noah Jackson. Illegal procedure, and it'll go against the Bears. Boy, that hurts when you get down there. You've got it moving. You got a first down, 17-yard line.
Changes it so much, Frank, because you've got a limited field to work in anyway. So it's going to limit the...
False start by the offense, number 65.
Jackson, left guard.
He just missed the count. That happens every now and then.
Well, you know they were going to pass. He's setting up for pass block.
First down, 15 yards to go.
It was a leadoff for Saturday Night Fever.
Scott goes right. Golden Richards is it to the left. Out of the tight end. This is Richards in motion. And it goes out to Richards. And Richards gets some of it back down to inside the 12-yard line.
Key to hitting that man in motion is the guy, of course, that runs that motion. It's not as easy to make the break just at the right time to run a pattern that requires timing. That time he did a good job, came in off of the motion position, made his cut out the outside, picked up 7 or 8 yards.
Down in this area, Dandy, when you were with Dallas, and to a degree they still do it, didn't you always run that little flag pattern to Lance Rentzel?
They like to hit quick patterns, whatever it is, either a quick cut inside or a quick fake and a cut to the corner.
Ball at the 11, second down and 8. The call is to Roland Harper, and Harper makes a yard. It's close to the 10-yard line, hit by Jeff Seaman.
Brought down by Seaman.
It's also a good time to try to flip out to a back that is a good running back, a receiver that can make those moves on the outside, try to get him one-on-one to a linebacker and let him just say, okay, you beat him. And it's awfully hard for the guy to tackle a Roland Harper or a Peyton out there in that open field.
Third down and 8. The Bears with a little more than 8 minutes on the clock remaining in the half, trailing by 7. Have a third and 8. 5 receivers. Richards 83, Scott 89. And they're both flanked to Avellini's left. Avellini has Richards open and does not release it quickly enough and has to throw it away. Nate Allen covering, but Richards was...
Seemed to me Avellini was, he rushed that. He got a little pressure from the inside, did a little extra turn there and threw the ball a bit late. There again, it depends on timing. Richards made his move to the outside and Scott went to the inside. Came a little late.
Fourth down, Bob Thomas will come out.
Generally speaking, though, Avellini's been getting excellent protection tonight. On the one big rush, that's when we had the roughing the passer penalty.
You know, I didn't see a flag down, but there was quite a discussion going on at the 15-yard line.
Offensive holding, number 70, declined. It'll be fourth down.
Offensive holding against Dennis Lick. Decline, fourth down. Bob Thomas is still out. Bob Thomas, 5 of 5. Been around a little bit.
Backstengel is the holder. Thomas will attempt a field goal.
Backstengel will do the holding for Thomas. 27-yard attempt. It's up. And it's good. Bob Thomas from 27 yards out has the Bears up to 10. The Vikings have 14. We'll be right back. The Bears rolled off 14 plays, used 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. They came away with 3 points. The Vikings leading now 14-10, 7:45 remaining in the first half. Bob Thomas set to kick. Deep is Kevin Miller. And Miller will have his opportunity from the 7. Miller goes down at the 30-yard line. Lenny Waltershy down there for the Chicago Bears.
I go back to that last penalty declined by Minnesota. I really can't see it. It shows a lack of faith in your own defense. Sure, it would have given Chicago another shot at picking up a first down or even a touchdown, but it would have made for a much harder kick. I don't understand it, Don. I would have accepted that penalty rather than declined it. What do you think?
I think that's a good point, but obviously old Bud decided to get that ball back.
1st and 10, Minnesota. This is Chuck Foreman.
Good move.
Good move defensively. Gary Campbell. Oh, and he's charged up. He's really stoked. As I said before, he's traveled around a little bit. He came up with Pittsburgh, and Foreman, with his classic style of carrying the ball, he does bobble it once in a while, but
look at that.
Now Ricky Young went down, lost his position, went off his feet. Campbell was able to just step on top of him, and he's getting some help there from those other black jerseys too. That's good pursuit.
Loss of 3, 2nd down, 13. Harkington, everyone in the pattern, and he throws it into the crowd. It's a screen to Ricky Young.
That was not a screen. I think that was just a desperation shot there.
Safety valve.
Safety
wherever
valve,
he
right.
could find him.
And that's a nice thing, I think, really to have. If you're going to have a guy block.
Sure turned into a screen, though.
Yeah, it sure did. You didn't send him out in the pattern. He's trying to go first. He was trying to go to the right. Got some pressure. Took a lot of time to learn how to throw that ball.
And Ricky Young gets it out to the 37-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Did you see Fensick hit him? Wow.
Rashad and Sammy White, the 2 wide receivers, both split to the left. Both backs in the pattern. Harkington.
Good defensive
play again by Gary Campbell.
Oh, that's really nice. Came over the top, made a great move, knocked the ball down.
Oh, yeah. Look at it again. Harkington had everyone in this pattern. The first coverage by the secondary.
I think Ricky Young is standing just shy of the first down anyway. This has to be at that. No, he was there. He had his first down, but look at that move. That's
Great play. Campbell is having a big game.
A little touch of ballet.
A little Luria move there. Mike Wood on the punt. Deep. Steve Schubert. Single man back, and the Bears are going to go for it again. And they get close, but no horseshoe. Schubert calls for, makes the fair catch out of the 30-yard line. So the Bears will have a 1st and 10, their own 30 with 5:57 remaining in the first half. And we'll be returning to Soldier Field after this. One of Don's favorite cities, Chicago, and the venerable old structure, Soldier Field. Been around for a long time. Built back in 1924. Changed a lot over the years, and it's seen some great events.
The title in town.
Dempsey Tunney, 1927. SC lost to Notre Dame right here in 1927, and a crowd of 123,000 was on hand.
Biggest gate in history until last September 15th in that frenetic scene in New Orleans.
1st and 10, the Bears. They trail 10-14, the Vikings. Harper gets out of the 30 to the 32, a gain of 3, where it'll be 2nd down and 7.
Next week, we've got a big one. The Dallas Cowboys go into the capital city. The Redskins, one of the 4 unbeaten teams in the league as of this moment. They're 4-0. Cowboys are 3-1. Cowboys lost to the Rams. Everybody
Always.
knows the Cowboys start slowly. They haven't started that slowly this year, in point of fact.
2nd and 7. Dak Pardee, who coached the Chicago Bears, doing a fine job with the Redskins. Avellini unloads. It's almost picked off by number 54, Fred McNeil. The intended receiver, Scott.
He really is disgusted with himself. Minnesota would have had great field position. Party's done a great job, especially with the quarterback, Theismann, as we look at this play again.
He sees Eller coming in there, and I don't...
It's not a happy thing to see,
No,
is it?
sir. Eller made that move from the outside.
Look at that.
McNeil didn't expect it.
That's why he's a linebacker, not a tight end, I guess.
Just to finish up on Washington, vastly improved, getting a pass rush from Coy Bacon, getting great coverage from Lamar Parrish, and a brilliant rookie running back, Tony Green.
3rd down, 7. Ball at the 32-yard line of the Bears. Inside handoff. Goes to
holding.
Payton, and a holding call, I believe, is coming up. The flag's down.
I think they got old Noah again. They hit him right with a flag.
I'll tell you, that Seaman was in there beautifully. Let's take a look at Seaman, even though the play may be nullified. Watch Jeff, number 50. So many times we've talked about these Minnesota linebackers. Good, clean, one-on-one tackle.
Number 65 of the offense, holding, decline, 4th down.
Decline. You speak of Jeff Seaman, I think of his high school coach, Paul Briggs, Bakersfield High School.
Oh, there we
Taught
go.
him well. Bob Parsons will punt. Kevin Miller is deep. Parsons hangs it up, and Kevin Miller takes a chance and pays for it at the 30-yard line.
I don't understand that either. You see, not one but 2 guys right on you. Ball kicked high and effectively. All the hang time in the world to call a fair catch.
Well, what he thought was, he says, they surely won't think I'll try to run this one back, and they'll slow up a little bit when they get down here. And just when they do that, then that's when I'll catch the ball, break right through. That's what.
If that's what he thought, he's got a whole new school to go to.
Got to think your way into a new profession. On 1st and 10. Parkinson dumps it off, and it goes to Sammy White. He has the 1st down, looks for additional yardage, has to turn into the crowd, and he's out to the 44-yard line.
Time is still not a factor. It's 4:47 left and counting down in the half. All the time in the world.
10 yards to go for Minnesota at the 44.
Sammy White.
Well, the Phils and the Expos are tied at 2-2. The Bucks have won. The Bucks fell off the pace to 4 games behind because Montreal was busy knocking them off while the Phils made hay with the Mets. But the way things are going in this final week of the major leagues, who can tell?
The Dodgers did it.
1st down, 10, Minnesota, their own 44-yard line. The toss goes to Ricky Young. Cuts it back, gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe squeaked out a yard.
Campbell,
and Ron Rydalch.
And Fensick in there again.
Brought down by Rydalch. Bucket turn.
Oh, big Mike Hartenstein was the guy that really got back there quick.
2nd down.
But he didn't make the tackle, but he did turn him in.
With an injured player down, the Chicago Bear.
There's a timeout on the field.
Cannot identify the injured player.
Soldiers Field. This thing really is nice. I enjoy it. This is the first introduction I ever got to professional football. The Big Daddy Lipscomb was the Baltimore Colts in the College All-Star game right here. Remember it well.
Pity Big Daddy wasn't on your side.
Oh, that's what he was all night. That was it. I said, this is a whole new thing here.
My first introduction to pro football, also right here, Don.
Yeah.
Timeout down on the field, and we'll be returning in just a moment. Jim Osborne was the injured Bear that we could not identify because of his position on the field. He walked off. He ran off, as a matter of fact, so he appears to be all right. That brings in Brad Shearer, a rookie from the University of Texas, a 3rd-round draft pick that I was rather curious about, and it seems to be that there wasn't much respect for his pass rushing concern. And in the event, number 72, Brad Shearer from Texas, is in there defensively. Here comes Ricky Young from Minnesota. Finds an opening and turns on the speed, and Ricky Young takes the ball inside the 40-yard line of the Bears, driven out of bounds by Doug Plank. Ricky Young, we mentioned before, came from San Diego. He was their leading rusher
and receiver.
Last year.
Go for Minnesota. The ball at the Bears 40.
Tell you, Steve Riley and Bob Tucker did a number over there on Mike Harkenstein that time. They put him away and they scooted right around that right end and got him a big first down.
3:43 remaining in the first half. 14-10. The Vikings over the Bears. Ricky Young left side, and flag goes down again. Young gets to about the 38-yard line.
A flag on the play.
And another holding call. It'll go against the Vikings. We've had a few penalties tonight.
Yeah, we really have.
And it'll be
7 penalties called against the Vikes thus far for 51 yards total. Good way to negate your own efforts.
Yeah, I saw the Steelers. Let's see what we got here.
Holding on the offense, number 38.
Bob Tucker, I knew he was getting them down. I just didn't know how. I understand that. Why he did it.
You knew he was doing quite a job, didn't you?
Sir.
They were going right at Shearer. They
Yeah.
went at Shearer as much as Hartenstein and the successful Ricky Young run on the prior play. So they're giving the rookie an early test.
It's nice of them.
Brent McClanahan comes in. He wears number 33. 1st and 20. The ball right at midfield. McClanahan inside handoff, and that didn't work, and another flag is down.
That looked like a little movement there in that offensive line.
Right off the bottom of that pile. Yeah, that's what Don said.
He's hot tonight. Hot.
Up to the top.
3:35 left in the half.
They're trying to decide whether they want to take it or not, I think.
Yeah.
It's, they say, well, it's first down.
1st and 20. They're going to take it, so it'll be 1st down and 25.
How to dig a hole in a hurry.
Illegal motion on the offense, number 78.
Steve Riley, left side tackle for the Minnesota Vikings.
And that's how he was doing it, too. He's getting off to a quick start, and Tucker was holding
You
him.
got both of them doing their job over there.
I'll get there in a hurry, and you come hold them, boy. We got them down there.
1st and 25. The ball at the 45-yard line of Minnesota. Sprint out, Tarkenton. He'll go for half of it, and he goes out to McClanahan. McClanahan hit the 47-yard line. Cowards and Finsick moving up the phone. However, put the cruncher on McClanahan. You taught him, didn't you? Not Brent McClanahan, but Gary Finsick up at Yale.
Yes, sir. He's a brilliant young man. He was in my class at Yale, and he was determined to prove this is a kid who had the best kind of offers in the world from the great finance companies because of his record at Yale scholastically. But he was determined to show he could play in the National Football League, and he sure has done that.
That's exactly the reason I went into it.
2nd down, 17. Sammy White in motion. Tarkenton is in trouble. Underthrows to Sammy White. Under pressure, Fran Tarkenton had to dump it off. It'll be 3rd down and 17. There's the big man in pursuit, Ron Rideout. And I don't blame Tarkenton for his concern. Rideout, 6'4", 250.
17 yards to go for Minnesota.
Well, from great field position after the Ricky Young run, 1st down inside the 40. They've done nothing but go backwards. The 2 penalties.
You know, Fran actually does that intentionally. He does that running around for 2 things. It shows the defense, the main thing he says, it shows the defense another pattern that they're not used to seeing, and it allows his receivers to get open where ordinarily they may not. Unusual.
3rd and 17. Tarkenton, the venerable alarm, hangs it up down around the goal line where it's bobbling, thrown in the air.
Intercepted,
And
but
picked off by Plank.
heck of a punt, wasn't it? Look at that.
That's as good as a punt, and I'm sure Fran had that in mind.
Oh, better than a punt. You're right down there on the 1-yard line. It's 3rd down and a whole bunch.
3rd and 17, and Francis just threw a hang glider up there and said, who's going to get it?
I'm telling you, he threw that one about as far as I've seen him throw one in a long time. It went about 60, let's see, that was about 60 yards. Not bad.
Blank.
And it could have been caught by Rashad. Or, I mean, I don't mean that. I mean,
Blank and Livers.
Yeah.
The Bears have the ball now inside their own 2-yard line. There's Plank. He is a
Strong
heavy hitter.
kid. He could have been a linebacker.
Now, that's a great-looking guy. I'm telling you, that guy would be in a movie.
His name ought to be Golden.
He'd be one of the Hardy Boys.
Don't tell that to Parker Stevens.
2:30 remaining in the half. 14-10. Vikings over the Bears. Bears have a 1st and 10. Their own 2, and here comes Walter Payton, and he gets a little breathing room for quarterback Bob Avellini. Hamels out over the 8-yard line. A gain of 6 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Robin Earl in there in the short yardage defense.
What a great man has just walked in to shake our hands. Number 42,
There he
Columbia
is.
University and the Chicago Bears. Sid Luckman.
We are shaking his hand.
That's correct.
2-minute warning on the field. Avellini will move over. Have his chat with Neil Armstrong. Meanwhile, the defense will talk it over with Bud Grant, and we'll be back in a moment. The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Vikings 14, the Bears 10. 2nd down, 4 to go for the Bears. Their own 8-yard line. Jeff Seaman trots back out to the defensive unit, having conferred with his coaches on the sideline. Avellini is back on the field. Halftime's coming your way again at halftime highlights.
4 yards to go for the Bears.
Walter Payton, and he is blasted by Matt Blair. A little courtesy on the part of Blair and Eller.
He's a tremendous ball player, Blair. He was All-Pro last year. Timeout call by the Vikes. He was a sneaky draft choice because he didn't play in his senior year, but the Vikes knew all about him from Iowa State, close to the Vikes' home. And they picked him up, and he has proved out. Don't forget, next Monday night, we've got a big one. Dallas against the Washington Redskins. Washington so effective thus far this year. Let's take a look at the Redskins against the Jets this past Sunday when they smothered the Jets 23-3. Young Joe Theismann performing so nobly. This is an evidence. This was in the 2nd quarter, trailing 3-0. He threw the bomb to John McDaniel, touchdown, and the Redskins took a 7-3 lead. And then later in the game, the same kind of long pass, only this time wide to Gene Fugit, the former Cowboy, and the Redskins rolled to a 23-3 victory over the Jets. Let's see what they can do against the vaunted defense next Monday of the Dallas Cowboys. Be with us. It'll be a big one.
We'll have a lot more highlights at halftime coming your way, and anytime the Redskins and the Cowboys get together, they put on some kind of a show.
That really is true. No matter what their records are, they're going to have it going.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good.
That's right.
All right, Minnesota stopped the clock. They like to get the ball back. 3rd down and 4 for the Bears. Their own 8-yard line. Getting the handoff is Walter Payton. And Payton out over the 10-yard line, short of the 1st down, and Minnesota will stop the clock again, and they will have an opportunity to get the ball back.
You mentioned Dallas against Washington and the nature of their past series. Landry's respect for George Allen was always just tremendous, and we had one of the best Monday night games we ever had down there in Washington between Dallas and Washington. Don, you remember Washington won the game on a saving one-on-one tackle at the goal line by Kenny Houston, the brilliant strong safety. It was one of the best individual defensive plays I have ever seen.
You remember who the ball carrier was? Was it? It wasn't Fugit, was it? When Fugit was with Dallas?
Larry Brown.
No,
that was a good guess.
No, Larry
Houston
Brown
didn't tackle Larry Brown.
Well, he could have.
If he did, we would have had a scoop.
It was somebody though that was really big. See what I mean? It was a big.
Wasn't Calvin Hill, was it?
I don't know. Here we go.
4th down. Bob Parsons is out for the Bears. Deep is Kevin Miller. The Vikings, they have them all lined up. 10-man line of scrimmage. They'll go for the block. Kevin Miller would be kind of on his own back there. Parsons totally aware of it. He's a good athlete. No contact made. Vikings get back on side. This is Miller, and he takes it in his 47-yard line. It's out of bounds, and the Vikings will have a 1st and 10 at the Bears' 40-yard line. 1:32 remaining on the clock. The Vikings have 1 timeout remaining.
The guy to watch when Minnesota puts on that kind of front to try and block is number 25, Nate Allen. He's an opportunistic special teams man as well as a defensive back, and he had a number of blocks last year. He was the one closest then, although not that close.
All right, Fran Tarkenton. No one is better, and I guess you get awfully good at it over 18 years of using the clock. He has 1:32. He has 1 timeout. He has Sammy White and Ahmad Rashad as tight wide receivers. Bob Tucker's the tight end. Ricky Young. The ball. Bobbles the ball. And the Bears come up with it. It's Plank, I believe.
Well, that was
Doug Plank recovers for the Bears.
Ever since they took that 14-0 lead, as you watch Doug Plank come off the field, Minnesota has made mistake after mistake, beginning with the block kick and a succession of penalties. Look at it again, Don.
I think it's a very good call. They have that plenty of time, actually, as you talked about. That's Campbell again, isn't it? That just really stuck it in there and knocked the ball loose.
Playing
Ricky Young.
himself a game tonight.
Yes, sir. Carried in there. The Vikings picked up 15 yards on that exchange of a punt and an interception. Now the Bears got it back.
17th turnover of the year thus far for the Vikings as Walter Payton goes off the left side, gains a yard and a half. And the crowd is booing. They'd like to see the Bears try and get some more points.
Well, they've been hungry for a great bad team for a long time. It's been 1963 since they won the title in a game in which you played, Frank, when Larry Morris intercepted 2 Y.A. Tittle screen passes and became the game's most valuable player.
No, I didn't remember that either. 2nd down and 8. Harper, and they'll continue to boo. I think Neil Armstrong, however, is doing the right thing. His team had the momentum. They got in a little bit of trouble with an interception down around the 1 or 2 yard line. They worked their way out of it without having to give up any points.
I don't criticize the run, but I would call timeout because those guys that he hands the ball off to, they can break it for the 20 and 30 yards. But
that's right, and they have 3 timeouts.
Yeah, I wouldn't run out the clock, I don't think.
Strange things are happening to Chicago tonight. Walter Payton. And Payton stops the clock with 4 seconds. First down, Chicago, out to the 43-yard line. 4 seconds, of course, that becomes academic. Again, halftime highlights coming your way.
And we've got a lot of games for you tonight. Those that we couldn't show you yesterday because we wanted to show you the key baseball games. By the way, the Phils beat the Expos 3-2. The Phils' magic number is 4. They lead the Bucks by 4.
I bet you they pass this time.
They do it really totally confusing.
Now they will. They'll throw this time.
Oh, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
Well,
hang it up. Now that
caught it out of bounds.
I'm telling you, that was not played well.
And 4 seconds expired. Avellini, hearing the boos of the crowd, of course, I'm sure he was instructed as to what to do by his bench. In any event, the Bears lead the field. They trail the Minnesota Vikings 14-10. Stay with us. Halftime highlights coming your way in a moment.
Back at Soldier Field, Chicago, the score here at halftime, Minnesota 14, the Bears 10. Here's the way the scoring went. Minnesota scored first with a touchdown. White on a 33-yard pass from Tarkenton, 7-0. 14-0 when Matt Blair picked off an Avellini fumble and ran it 49 yards for a touchdown. Then Chicago responded. Walter Payton went in with a 3-yard run, and then Thomas a 27-yard field goal, 14-10. Our halftime highlights are being brought to you by Metropolitan Life. Come to Metropolitan, simplify your life. And so, we're ready. Here we go. As we begin with yesterday's NFL highlights, the Green Bay Packers at San Diego. The players getting ready for the game. San Diego favored. But it was a strange game. David Whitehurst out of Furman, number 17. The Pack quarterback was sacked 10 times on the day. That time by Charlie DeJarnette. This time by Leroy Jones and Fred Dean. And that time by Gary Johnson as he fumbles and the ball picked up by Leroy Jones, who sped downfield with the fumbled ball. But still, the Chargers couldn't put points on the board. And in the third quarter, with the score 7-0 Green Bay, this Jeff West punting for San Diego. The ball blocked by 38 Estes Hood, recovered by 42 Waller Landers, who goes 15 yards for the score, 14-0 Green Bay. 11 turnovers on the day by the Chargers in the game. This is fourth quarter action. One of them, Dan Fouts, throwing downfield. 28, Willie Buchanan comes up with it. A former first-round draft choice. Remember, he picked off 4 on the day. Later in the fourth quarter, San Diego, 3rd and 17 from the Packer 43. Fouts again, and Willie Buchanan again. This time, Buchanan makes hay, follows his blocking, goes down the left sideline. He's got an easy roll for the touchdown, 77 yards. And so Green Bay went on to the victory, 24-3. And the Pack this year is coming back under Bart Starr. In the meantime, the loss caused that man, the bridge player, the backgammon player, the gin rummy player extraordinaire, Tommy Prothro, to resign as coach, succeeded by that man, Don Coryell, the past head coach of the Cardinals. That's the familiar face of Don Shula, the Place Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. Shula still without Bob Greasy, and how it's hurting his team. Philadelphia much improved. Right here, you can see the Eagles controlling the line of scrimmage with that kind of blocking by Stan Wallers on Doug Betters in the second quarter. Watch Ron Jaworski in the pocket, downfield to the very, very tall Harold Carmichael for the reception, 38 yards. He's now had receptions in 84 straight games. This is second quarter action. Jaworski with the Eagles trailing 3-0. Hitting his receiver, Mike Hogan, 4 yards touchdown. The Eagles in front 7-3. In the fourth quarter, still 7-3. Jaworski handing off again to Hogan. And so the Eagles went on to an upset victory, 17-3 over the Miami Dolphins. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, suburb of Buffalo, Baltimore at Buffalo. Terry Miller, 40, looking for the blitz. Bills 3rd and 7, the Colt 19-yard line. Joe Ferguson, the league's leading passer, getting good protection in the pocket. Downfield to the big tight end, number 88, Reuben Gant. Touchdown, the Bills took a 7-0 lead in the second quarter with the Bills leading 14-7. It's 4th and 7 for the Bills from their own 19. The kick blocked, and Don Hardeman blocked it. Reese McCall, number 86, the number 1 draft choice tight end, recovered, touchdown. The score tied at 14, but not for long. On the very ensuing kickoff, Tony Linhart boots one, and it's a good kick. 2 yards into the end zone. Curtis Brown picks it off. Watch this speedster go. Apparently stopped. Reese McCall had him. A hero a moment ago. Now McCall becomes a GOAT as Curtis gets out of that mess. Speeds down the left sideline. Excellent downfield blocking by Reuben Gant. And he goes all the way for the touchdown. 102 yards. The longest return of the season. Buffalo won it 24-17.
How this world can turn you around.
The Saints at Riverfront Stadium to go against the winless Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals leading 18-10, fourth quarter. Manning back, throws the big bomb downfield. And Henry Childs, number 85, picks it off. The game good for 49 yards. Later in the same drive, it's 3rd and 5. Goal to go for the Saints. And Strawn goes in. Look at those stats on the day. 108 yards gain. Now the Saints were down by 1. They came back still further. 3 seconds remaining. John Leopold, field goal attempt. Watch it closely. Ball hits the uprights, goes through. And so the Saints upset the Bengals 20-18, the final score. Cincinnati still without a win. It was a wet day in Tampa, Florida. That can happen. But at Tampa Stadium, it was the Falcons against Tampa Bay. Davy Green kicking for Tampa Bay. The ball blocked. The net result, an automatic safety as the Falcons took a 2-0 lead over the Buccaneers. So in the first quarter, on the next series, 4th and 6 from the Tampa Bay 12. Fred Steinfurt tries a 30-yard field goal. That ball is blocked, and it's scooped up by number 40, Mike Washington, who has nothing but daylight in front of him. He goes 79 yards for the touchdown, and suddenly Tampa Bay takes a 7-2 lead. After that, the Buccaneers went on to win it 14-9, their second victory in a row. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, the Denver Broncos, the visitors. It's the first series of the game. It's 1st and 10 from the Chiefs' 42. The Bronx in possession. Craig Morton getting all the time in the world. And he's looking for his tight end, Riley Odoms, who's all alone. The Bronx take a 7-0 lead. But the Chiefs fought back. In the third quarter, it was 10-10. And the Chiefs had 3rd and 4 at the Denver 39-yard line. Quarterback Mike Livingston throws to his speedy tight end, Walter White. Good for a 24-yard gain. On the very next play, the Chiefs were not to be denied. Watch closely. A reverse, McKnight to Tony Reed, number 32. This is one of the brightest young runners in the league. Touchdown, 17-10, Kansas City. The Denver Broncos came back to tie it up at 17-17. Still in the third quarter, Kansas City 4th and 3 at their own 37. A good punt by Andrew Seashan to Rick Upchurch. He's the game breaker for Denver, and look at him go. This is that old familiar scene. This time the run back is good for 53 yards, but Denver was unable to capitalize. Regulation time ended at 17 apiece. In the overtime, 4:36 remaining. Denver on the Chiefs 1. Dave Preston, the rookie from Bowling Green, goes in. And so Denver beats Kansas City 23-17. Denver leads in the Western Division of the AFC by 1 over Oakland. That's a beautiful shot of the Great Bay Area. Well, last night we premiered our special Sunday edition of Monday Night Football, New England at Oakland. Seconds to go. The team's tied at 14-14. Quarterback bootleg by Steve Grogan of the Patriots, and it works. He goes deep downfield inside the 5-yard line. And that play by Grogan set this up. Grogan to Sam Van Cunningham. Up and over. Touchdown. New England upset Oakland 21-14. What a game.
Funny how...
This is Mr. Max Robinson. He runs the national desk on ABC's World News Tonight, based here in Chicago. Max, why is it valid in your opinion to have a national desk in Chicago? Some have demurred.
I would say something like coming to Chicago makes me a Bears fan. I'm now a Bears fan. I have a different perspective on the Bears. I'm a Redskins fan back in Washington. And being in Chicago, you got a different view. You're from New York, from Washington. In New York and Washington, there's a tendency to think the East Coast is the United States. The rest of it doesn't count. Well, being based in Chicago gives me a field to advocate for the rest of the country. All of those stories that go on around the country that are important to the country. And we push for those stories, not the stories in New York and not the stories in Washington, even though we also cover New York.
You're doing a good job, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Max Robinson of ABC's World News Tonight. Now back to the Gifford.
Halftime activities winding down. The score, Minnesota 14, Chicago 10. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Buick, who invites you to see your dealer soon and test drive one of the new 79 Buicks. It's a treat you really owe yourself. After all, as Don would say, life is to enjoy. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff after a word from our local stations. Just about ready for the beginning of the second half. Minnesota against Chicago. Minnesota leading 14-10. Minnesota on the year thus far 1-2. The Bears undefeated coming in tonight. Bob Avellini on the night 6 of 12 for 60 yards. Fran Tarkenton, his counterpart of the Minnesota Vikings, 6 of 11 for 73 yards. There's Francis. So many records this man holds. He has thrown his 321st career touchdown. That's an NFL record, of course. Over 44,000 yards gained by passes, the most completions, the most attempts, and it goes on and on. Every time he goes on the field, he sets new marks. Minnesota will kick off. Mike Wood. Deep is number 29, Mike Morgan, and number 23, Lenny Walterscheid. Mike Morgan, a rookie from Wisconsin. Hobbled a couple of them in the first half. Wood puts it up high. Walterscheid. And Walterscheid out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Tipped up there by Fred McNeil, who does such a fine job, not only as a linebacker, but on the special teams for Minnesota. Let's take a look at it. You know, and the guys on the special teams, yeah, they get involved in some of the wildest collisions you'll ever see. But McNeil, with that speed, hustles down, works on the special teams. And there he trips up Walterscheid, who had a pretty good opening. He could have tacked on quite a bit of yardage. The Bears are down by 4. First and 10, their own 28-yard line. Walter Payton. And Payton out of the 30 to the 31-yard line. Bob Avellini's the quarterback. Number 7, Walter Payton, 34. Roland Harper, 35. Those are the setbacks. Wide receivers, 83, Golden Richards. James Scott, 89, the tight end, Greg Latta. There's your offensive line for the Bears. Payton not able to break away this evening. Carried the ball 17 times for 48 yards. He's a little bit frustrated. He's healthy now, had a bruised shoulder in preseason. And he just has been a little frustrated. His longest run from scrimmage has been 16 yards thus far in this young season. On second down and 8, the ball at the 31. Payton gets the call again, and again he runs into collision. On the left side, bounces forward out to the 35-yard line, a gain of a long 3. It'll be third down and 3.
Gain of 4 yards, brought down by Wise.
Defensively, the Vikings are staying pretty much in their basic 4-3, although they slip in and out of a 3-4. Marshall, Page, Sutherland, Mullaney, that's the down 4. Seaman, Blair, McNeil, the linebackers. Steve Sugar now in for the Bears, split to the left, wide receiver, he's number 86. Out to Walter Payton. And this entire stadium comes to his feet. Walter Payton doing his thing down to the 45-yard line, first down Bears.
Beautifully executed play. Good call by Avellini. And watch as we look at it again, the job that's done on Jeff Seaman.
Seaman, of course, is one of his responsibilities to pick these guys when they come up. You see Payton come up, go run a little shoot, what we call a shootout.
Goodbye.
Says, wait a minute, I'm going the other direction. Page misses it, and Page had a pretty good shot at it, pretty good angle. There comes
Mullaney didn't get him.
Oh, that's great hustle.
A 20-yard gain out of what should have been a 5-yard gain. And this is Roland Harper, and he does his thing. Two fine running backs. Harper makes something out of nothing. Give him a yard and a half. It'll be second down and 8. Phil Wise up there helping out on that stop. Wise came from the New York Jets last year. Replaces an injured Jeff Wright, who was on the non-injury list, although he had knee surgery early in the spring. Right now it's Phil Wise, who is a strong safety for the Vikings.
Getting a little nippy out here.
Getting cold, in point of fact.
Second and 8. Play action. Avellini has a man open.
Yes, sir.
It's number 89. That's Scott. First down Bears, 32-yard line. Scott.
Henderson County Junior College in Athens, Texas.
Have to be impressed, by the way, Don, with the calls of Avellini.
Well, they are coming from the bench, I think, but I am impressed with the way he's running the ball club out there, and seems very confident, and they respond to him pretty well. Again, that's just a turnout route, but they're respecting that speed, man. They don't let him get behind them. It's Nate Allen that came up there. 25.
Scott was second in the NFC to Rashad last year in receptions, and second by 1. Rashad 51, Scott had 50. Avellini again.
Same pattern, the other
Goes out to
side.
Scott. Same pattern, and the thing that impresses me, Don, is that Avellini throwing that deep out. You as a quarterback know you really got to put something on it.
Frank, you're an old defensive cornerback, but when they see that back come out of the backfield and go out to the sideline, the defensive back really expects kind of a down and in move by the outside receiver. What they're doing is they're putting that back out in the short flat, and then a little bit deeper down, they're running another sideline route. So that defensive cornerback is playing more to the inside than ordinarily he would.
First and 10. The ball's at the 18-yard line of the Vikings. Just underway in the second half, and the Bears are moving. They trail the Vikings 14-10. Payton off on the right side.
They caught him in a blitz that time, and that was Blair coming along with Seaman. Had Blair not been there, and he had broken through that line, there was nobody until they got back to that deep secondary. So it was a good defensive play for the linebackers.
They've got a pair on the outside, Fred McNeil and Matt Blair, who react like defensive secondary men. They're big, but they're also quick and agile.
Scott comes out of there. Schubert comes in, number 85, at the bottom of your screen.
Second and 10. Richards flanked to the right. Draw play, Payton runs into Jeff Seaman, and Seaman holds on at the 15-yard line. It'll be third down now and 6. Third and 7.
Now this is where they stalled earlier in the ball game, same place. One of the things that started that stall was a 5-yard penalty, put them back into a 1st and 15 situation, and they settled for a field goal. Now they've got a third and a real tough, I'd call that a 7 yards, but that's a pretty tough one there.
Scott is in, Schubert out, Richards will move to the left, Scott goes out to the right, where Scott will be working against Nate Wright.
Here come the linebackers. Oh, look out. He had a guy so wide open.
Bobby Bryant tangles up with Golden Richards, almost gets an interception, and there was a man open in the end zone, Greg Lotta, the tight end. And he is mad.
There was nobody back there, but it's hard to see. They did have the blitz,
right.
And he was trying to go that outside receiver.
Crowd is booing because interference wasn't called, but as you watch this, you'll see no evidence of interference.
Oh, I don't think it was interference. Was that what they're calling it? Almost an interception. That Bobby Bryant was really on him all the way. You got Golden coming out, going to the outside. Bryant's right there. And he had the ball for a moment, it looked like, and then dropped it.
Bob Thomas on for a 32-yard field goal attempt. He's hit one earlier from 27 yards. Puts it in the air, high, and is straight, and is pure. So the Bears have pulled to within 1 of the Vikings. 9:07 remaining in the third quarter. Good football game. Stay with us.
Just to recap the playoff situation, Phils and Bucks won today. Phils lead by 4, Magic number 4. The Yanks and the Red Sox in the remaining key race. Yanks lead by 1. Each team resumes action tomorrow. Each team has 6 games left. Dodgers have clinched. Kansas City is in.
Dodger blue.
Bob Thomas hits it. Kevin Miller is waiting. Kicks off to the left and is taken there by Robert Miller. And Miller just bowls ahead out to the 30-yard line. So Minnesota now has their lead cut to 1.
They have been able to do nothing since getting that quick 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Midway in the first quarter, it looked like a breeze, but has turned out to be anything but. There's the brilliant young one from Rice University, Tommy Kramer, who led the Vikes downfield in their overtime victory against Denver.
It remains Tarkington, however. Fake to Foreman, flips out to Sammy White, and Sammy White negotiates up to close to the 35-yard line. Gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5.
That's the kind of quick swing pass that Dunn was talking about in the first half, that Tarkington has used so successfully throughout his career.
It's a good first down call, too. Ordinarily, you're going to Well, you have a good chance of picking up a pretty good gainer on that.
The guy Kenny Houston tackled that night in the Dallas-Washington game was Walt Garris.
Little Puddin'.
Such research. Second down. Handoff. Chuck Foreman.
Could be a biggie.
Flag is down. That could be a biggie.
Yep, and I think it is. Look at the, he's saying, I did not hold him. I did not hold him.
Well, it's Charles Goodrum saying, I didn't hold. So apparently it's going to go against Minnesota. It is.
They have had the capacity for making the critical mistake ever since they got that 14-0 lead. It began with a block kick that set up the Bears' first score. Then consistent penalties. They have now suffered 9 penalties as I look at it for a total of 66 yards.
Offensive holding, number 73.
Well, Goodrum was just defending Ron Yeri over on the right side. Watch number 73, bottom of your screen. He's the right tackle. New blocking rules make it rather explicit. You can't get those hands outside of the plane of your body. And that time, Yeri just had a good grip on Tommy Hart. Second down, 16. Tarkenton didn't wait any longer. He's got a wide open field. He had Foreman, but he throws it off instead to Ricky Young.
Well, he had Foreman for a while, but then he closed it up.
Buckenstern made the stop.
He really had Bob Tucker, number 38, all alone in the middle, and that's where he could have picked up yardage.
Easy to see him up here, but he was really busy. He had a lot of big folks chasing him around.
You got Foreman coming out of the backfield. Fran did his little run around. That's really what Foreman was supposed to do, was do a clear-out pattern. He sees he's in trouble. And he said, well, I might as well just go deep.
A little boogie. Little John Travolta downfield.
He was pretty well covered.
Yeah, he wasn't that clear. It was Tucker. Tucker was the one clear in the middle.
Ricky Young gets back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd down and 10.
Look out.
Tarkenton fires and is complete to Sammy White. He has the first down. He's out to the 44-yard line. Driven back there. Oh, and a flag goes down. Gary Finsick in on the stop.
Over eager.
There's the flag on the play.
Got to make excuses for my yell, Adrian.
Well, yeah, but it is really unnecessary. Hold on a minute.
Biggs.
Personal foul. It goes against the Bears.
Big series, too, for the Vikings and Tarkenton. Deep in the hole. They're out of it now and then some.
Was that a 3rd down play there?
3rd and 10.
3rd and 10.
Great field position.
Now look at that one. 3rd and 10 on top of it. 15-yarder.
Unnecessary roughness, number 45 on the defense, first down.
Now, you didn't teach him that in your class, did you?
Never did. Cautioned him against that.
The ball is on the Bears' 41-yard line, 1st and 10, Minnesota. Francis stats on the night. Jack Foreman, left side, finds an opening, is closed quickly by Gary Campbell, who's playing a whale of a game tonight.
He has been all over that field.
Foreman, run down by Campbell. I gain 1.
Gain of maybe a yard by Foreman. There he is, Gary Campbell.
Gary Campbell is playing it elephant okay on that outside, wouldn't you think?
He's a stoked up one, too. He puts a lot of emotion into it.
9 yards to go for the Vikings at the 41.
2nd and 9. Sammy White flank to the right, Rashad to the left. Tarkenton sprint out, gets in a lot of... nice play. Tucker with the screen. Bob Tucker moves down the sideline. First down, much more. Gets down to the 21-yard line. Taken out of bounds by Virgil Livers.
Beautifully set up.
Beautifully set up.
Yeah, the execution was really nice. Fran came out on a slight roll to the right. See a little play action there to Young. All the time he's got... That's really nice.
Well, the entire team acted as you have to do on a screen pass. They made it look like a sprint out. There was Bob Tucker, who once led the league in receptions, and that, of course, was when he was with the Giants, but his quarterback at that time, Fran Tarkenton, came to Minnesota the 6th game of last season.
Because of Fran Tarkenton.
1st and 10, 21-yard line of the Bears. Bears down by 1. Handoff, Brent McClanahan. Bears stiffen, and McClanahan gets to the 20, maybe just over the 20-yard line for maybe a yard and a half.
Don's old friend, Bud Grant, goes back to the first season of Monday Night Football, 1970, when Bud said, "Don't you come into my clubhouse."
Well, he was a little bit. He didn't know he didn't do it. He sent somebody else to tell me. That's when I was a journalist.
Now what are you?
I'm not a journalist anymore. I don't mess around in the clubhouse.
All right, 2nd down and 9 for the Minnesota Vikings. Rashad White, wide receivers, as you can see, both to the left. Foreman gets the call, finds a little opening, squirts up to the 15-yard line. Gain of 5, it'll be 3rd down and 3. Brad Shearer is staying in the lineup for the Bears, number 72. Earlier in the game, you saw Jim Osborne go out. Nothing serious. He hurt his back a little bit.
4 yards to go for Minnesota.
But the rookie from Texas is in there defensively for the Bears. Hart, Shearer, Rydalch, Hartenstein, the front 4 of the Bears. Third and 3, and Ricky Young squirts underneath, and he's close to a first down if he doesn't have it.
That's good effort by Young. He was all off balance and made that final last dive. Let's see it. Here he comes.
Watch how low that Ricky Young body is.
There he is. A little help by hand. Slid right on in there. Yes, sir. Sliding in there. Heck of a shot down there, guys.
Gets the first down. Good block. Chuck Foreman ahead of Ricky Young. Young now 52 yards on 9 attempts. First down, the Vikings. 11-yard line of the Bears. They can get a first down at the 1. The shot goes left. White is right. Sammy White cuts behind his screen and gets down close to the goal line.
That same play they opened this drive up with, this time was a little more effective. When you look back, it was a big 3rd down and 10.
Watch this big lineman come out, and he'll slide right behind them.
That's Yeri comes out in front. He's got Yeri to one side and Wes Hamilton on the other. Cuts right back inside. And they got a first down.
You know, every team has this play in their repertoire. It's really a screen to the flanker, but Minnesota seems to be able to pull it off better than other ball clubs.
Dallas put it in there first when they had Bobby Hayes.
When you had Bobby Hayes.
That's right.
First and goal. Foreman. Up, over, touchdown.
You bet.
Number 44.
Ain't nothing to it.
For the touchdown.
So that 3rd down play by Talkington after Minnesota was deep in the hole with still another penalty set them off for a drive that was beautifully executed.
This really is the first time that they've put one together since the very opening. Look at that Foreman go up and over. Man, that is nice.
Well, the screen pass to Bob Tucker was a key play in that drive. Big yard gainer.
Don Reeves tried to push him back there and didn't get there in time.
Dannemeyer for the conversion.
Oh, it blocked. Oh, it went through.
Ha! Squeezed it through. The Vikings once again extend their lead over the Bears, 21-13. 3:59 remaining in the 3rd quarter. We'll be right back. Minnesota, a drive help with a penalty. A good screen pass to Tucker, another one to Sammy White. They are now ahead 21-13. 3:59 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Mike Wood bumps it down to about the 1-yard line where this is Glennie Walterscheid. And Walterscheid ambles out to the 27-yard line. Phil Wise made the stop there, and the Bears will try and get back in it now.
Going back to Talkington's drive for the touchdown, Don, you talked earlier on about the bad press he was getting up in Minneapolis, how they felt he was through. He was 5 for 5 for 52 yards on that drive.
And I think it's a little too early to start calling for the replacements, but it is a natural thing when a guy's been in there for 18 years and his team loses 2 out of the first 3. They're going to want changes, and they usually go to that spot first.
On first down, Walter Payton. Roland Harper in front, and Payton turns the corner, and he's not been able to find that opening from the line of scrimmage. You saw him a short while ago on what he can do with an open field on that pass from Avellini, but he has not been able to break loose. Phil Wise limping off the field.
I think that really is the key too, Frank, because Payton, when he Actually, when he gained his 275 yards against these guys, they only scored 10 points that night. Phil Wise is having a very tough time getting off the field.
Phil Wise being attended to there on the sidelines. Timeout on the field, and we'll be back in a moment. Phil Wise appears to be okay in front of the Vikings bench. They're not too concerned. He's walking around. Paul Krause has come in at free safety. That means Tom Hannon, number 45, will move over to the strong side safety. Krause again, 15 years in the league, and looking for that one interception that will tie him at 79 with the late Imtonel for the all-time NFL interception record. On second down and 9, Avellini is back. Fires out. He's wide open. Walter Payton.
Oh, what a move.
What a nifty move for the first down. Got away from Matt Blair, got away from Nate Allen, and gets the first.
Just that great balance that he seems to always maintain. He made a little head fake out to the wide side of the field, and that's where I would think that he was going to go. You'd see this move right here, and now right back into the inside, picked up his first down.
The first down at the 39-yard line. The report from the bench, Phil Wise has a bruised calf. He should be able to come back into the game. 2:56 remaining in the third quarter. Steve Schubert, 85. Golden Richard, wide receivers, top of your screen. Avellini. Walter Payton. And this time the crowd is there to corral Payton right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe he'll pick up a yard. Matt Blair in on the...
He was unable to catch that one in stride. Frankie had to kind of regroup himself, and just that split second enabled the Vikes to get over there and defend to get it against it rather well, I would say.
Second down and 10. James White comes in for Sutherland, first round pick in '76 defensively for Minnesota. Walter Payton. And Payton negotiates to the outside, getting a good block from Reevy Sorry ahead of him.
I think he wound up over in the dugout, too. Rather dangerous set of benches here. There's a hole you can step in. The guys are not benches that you hit and knock over, but there's a kind of a hole that you step in there. And a lot of folks have been hurt in those things, in the
They've
trenches.
only been able to shake Payton loose as a receiver tonight. As Frank said earlier, he's got to be frustrated. Minnesota's doing a good job of closing in on him. There's the bench area.
Payton gets 4 yards, third down and 6. The ball resting right at the 43-yard line. Three wide receivers in now. Scott, Schubert, Richards. Good protection, and out goes to Roland Harper, and Harper is nailed instantly by Jeff Seaman for the first down.
Great hit by Seaman. So the Bears must give up the football. We've got 1:48 and counting down left in the third quarter. Look at it, Don.
Well, Harper's course coming out of the backfield on a swing pass. Seaman dropped over in strong position, or deep, and just made a tremendous play to come back up, covered that territory very well.
Bob Parsons will punt. Kevin Miller is deep. This time the Vikings will set up for the return, I do believe. Yes, they do. Parsons bobbles the ball. He's in trouble. Tried to dump it off. That's an incompleted pass.
Well now, well now, well now.
Fred McNeil hustling in there, but it was Parsons who bobbled the ball. Unusual for this man, a former quarterback and a tight end, a good tight end who saw a lot of tight end duty.
That's right. Good snap. Hit him right there where it's supposed to. McNeil got there first.
And Nate Allen.
Yep. Harper says, what is that?
So the breaks that have beleaguered the Vikings for their first 3 games are beginning to swing their way. They have a 21-13 lead. They have good field position. They'll be at the 47-yard line when we return. The numbers that bother Walter Payton probably would be treasured by another running back, but this is not his kind of statistics. Great year last year.
Averaging less than 3 yards per carry tonight. They should be using him more since he's been so effective as a receiver.
First and 10, Minnesota. Ball at the 47-yard line of the Bears. Chuck Foreman gets a call to the outside. Hartenstein pulls him down from behind. He gets a lot of help from Gary Campbell, who's playing a tremendous football game tonight. He's everywhere.
He looks tonight like one of those Denver linebackers. The four of them count up to 10 or 20 when you watch them all over the field.
You've got to be kidding.
Nope. Gradishar in particular.
Bud Grant took a lot of heat this past week, and he's taken it before, and he always seems to wind up in the right place, and that's the playoffs. 9 times out of the past 10 years he's been there. He's been in the Super Bowl 4 times. He's not too worried about it. Second down 9, getting the call. Ricky Young, left side. Young gets down to the 43-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Young, tackled by the phone.
Doug Buffone in on that stop. He's one of the older Bears in terms of service. Been around 12 years. Survived an Achilles injury.
5 yards to go for Minnesota.
A couple of years ago, surgery, came back, didn't think he'd ever be able to play again, and yet here he is. Calls the defenses, directs the traffic out there. Doug Buffone. And 3rd down. Tarkenton has Rashad open,
And he
hits him.
Yes, sir.
1st down.
And you almost got another 15 by your Yale, who came in there a little bit late.
Complete for a gain of 15 yards.
And time expires in the 3rd quarter as we draw to Tarkenton again, and he waited until Rashad cleared. Put it on a line. Rashad gets the 1st down at the 28. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The score, Minnesota 21, Chicago 13. Will return for the 4th quarter in just a moment.
We come back to Soldier Field with the Vikes leading the Bears 21-13. The 4th quarter about to start. The Vikes threatening again the standings in the NFC Central Division. The Bears unbeaten up until tonight, but a defeat staring them in the face. The 3 teams they had beaten, we told you at the top of the telecast, as Coach Neil Armstrong had won only 1 game among all 3 of the defeated teams.
1st and 10, Minnesota at the Bears' 28-yard line. Tarkenton out to Bob Tucker. He gets down to the 25-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Fencing corrals Tucker at the 25.
Complete. Fencing made the step.
3rd quarter statistics. Possession time belies the score of this game.
At the 25.
They have been able to keep the Bears from scoring those touchdowns when they've been down there fairly close. So the Vikes bend, but they don't break. Thank you.
Like Cleveland.
On 2nd down. Doug Foreman finds an opening and moves down for a Minnesota 1st down, down close to the 12-yard line, hit there by Gary Campbell.
That's really fun for a quarterback when you're sitting there on a 2nd down and a 8.5 and hand a straight handoff to a guy and he picks up a 1st down. That means you've got something working for you back there.
Well, it's not quite a 1st down.
Well, they mark it, and I think we're going to get a measurement. And now it appears to be short of the 1st down.
Well, that's what I meant. Just you hand it off there on a straight dive, and the guy just comes up really just barely short of a 1st down.
Doug Foreman, we talked about his speed. Doesn't have that great 40 speed or great 100-yard speed, but no one accelerates quite like Chuck Foreman, I don't believe. Give him just a little gap, he's through it and gone.
Oh, it's way short. What am I talking about?
Well, you had a point.
Yeah, I guess, had a point.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. As you know, this is Dave and Tally Marr's anniversary today, and they're out there at my house right now.
Really?
Yep. California.
Who was the best man
Congratulations
there?
to them.
Shake was the best man. Frank was the best man, and I gave the bride away down in New Orleans. They got married on a Monday night down in New Orleans.
And Dink was the best dog.
Dink was the best dog, and Susan was
Bridesmaid.
yeah. No, she took the pictures.
3rd and short. Foreman.
Yeah, but he fought his way to the 1st down. He took a big hit, but staggered through it.
Fencing roared up there from strong safety position.
That's
Getting
what
help
I
from
taught
Tommy
him.
Hart.
That's what I taught him at Yale.
All right, is this what you taught him?
Yep. Look at this hit.
Foreman cut right back into Fencing.
Wham. And he did, too. That's nice. That is a nice one. And Tom Hicks came along and gave him some help. We get by with a little help from our friends.
1st and 10, the ball at the 16-yard line of the Bears. Ricky Young, big hole right side, and Young sees it, turns it up, and gets to the 10-yard line. Make it the 9.
I think they found something over there on that right side.
Ricky Young. These two backs, Ricky Young and Chuck Foreman, really complement themselves. Not only fine runners, gifted runners, but good receivers. 2nd down and 3. Francis, like a surgeon here in the 3rd quarter. Ricky Young again.
They didn't go to the right side that time, Gunn, but your earlier point was well taken. They've been going right at 72, Shearer. Rydolph's having been removed from the game earlier, and it's paying off.
Old Francis doesn't miss too many tricks out there, and you see a new guy come in, and you like to just check him out, find out why he's not playing first team.
Brad Shearer, of course, the rookie from Texas. Osborne out with the bad back. Didn't appear to be too seriously injured. 3rd down and 1. In the older days, you could almost predict that Tarkenton would play action fake and go for the 6, and that's what he's going to do.
How about it?
Oh, Tucker took his eye off.
I don't believe it.
And Tarkenton couldn't believe it either.
Thank you for your covert correction, Frank. It's Osborne who's out, not Rydolph.
Tucker just took his eyes off that.
Good play. And there you go, Frank. That was, you set it up well. Tart could almost run this thing in. He says, why do it? I've got a sure-fingered, glue-fingered man right out there. And Tucker says, oh, why me?
He had 7 completions in a row at that point. It's always the easy one. Lose the concentration.
Hey, look, they're going to go ahead and go for it here on 4th down instead of
with an 8-point lead.
I think Tucker was offside, wasn't he?
Foreman.
No, it wasn't Tucker. It was wrong side.
Flags are down.
4th down.
They really blew this.
I kind of, you wonder, 3 points would put them up by 11 points.
Which is a nice margin.
Which is a nice
you need
margin.
2 touchdowns.
And I'm saying, why not go ahead and kick that field goal there?
Well, they will.
I guess he figured that 8 points would do the same thing. You got to score something else besides a touchdown to do that. They don't have 8-point touchdowns, do they? Not here in the pros.
And here comes the field goal unit, Rick Danmeyer. And here's the call.
Illegal motion on the offense, right tackle.
Take a look at it again. They call it on the right tackle.
It wasn't the right tackle, though. It was the setback in there.
Danmeyer, 30-yard attempt.
Right through the middle.
Right through the heart. So the Vikings move it out to 24-13. 12:04 remaining in the game. We'll be back in a moment. Rounding out the 7 regional games, Alcorn State against South Carolina State. Boise State goes against Montana State. Hobart against St. Lawrence over most of these ABC stations. Saturday, NCAA college football. Consult your local listing for the game in your area. Mike Wood hits it. Deep is Mike Morgan. Flag goes down as Morgan goes down out at the 37-yard line.
Flags all over the place.
We've had a barrage of them tonight.
And those old Bears can't get it going for slowing down, can they?
Personal foul, clipping Bears. Minnesota been penalized 10 times. Chicago now 6 times. Neil Armstrong played some football with Bud Grant up in Winnipeg.
All-American at Oklahoma State. Vital man. Far more outgoing than his mentor, Bud Grant.
By the receivers doing the run back, number 51, 1st down.
Bruce Harron was guilty of clipping for the Bears. So the Bears begin in trouble, their own 13-yard line. They're down 24-13, 11:53 remaining in the game. Bears, of course, coming into tonight undefeated. They're looking at their first. Scott is in motion. Avellini hangs one up. No fair catch called for it. Bobby Bryant picks it off. And referee says he was not down.
Well, he was down, but he
on
was
his
not
own.
touched.
He had not been touched back there by wide receiver Golden Richards.
Now try to figure that call out.
No, you can't. It was just a plain bad call.
Well, if you're going to do it a little bit. That's just throwing it up there. Say, whoa, now, here, now, whoa, now, whoa, now. One of you guys jump up there. Let's see. All right, you got it, Bobby. It's your ball.
Bobby Bryant, his 40th career interception for Bobby, and he puts the Vikings back in good shape once again.
He had Golden Richards coming down there trying to split that middle. He didn't. That's not a lot of moves except just trying to get some speed there.
They did this against Detroit and set up a touchdown. They come back with it again, and it does not fool the Bears. Bryant with the interception. The Minnesota Vikings will have 1st and 10, 43-yard line of the Bears. A little bitty one, 6'1", 170-pounder, just came up with his 40th career interception, as I said, his 2nd of the season. Puts the Vikings in good shape at the 43-yard line. Avellini hanging one up that, well, anyone could have raced under and caught. Doug Foreman moves for 5 down to the 38-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5.
We said it was a bad call by Avellini. I think that deserves greater explanation. Under the new rule where you can't chuck a man past 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, the backs are playing very deep, the defensive backs, and the long pass becomes almost an impossibility. Crossing patterns can work, and that's why you're seeing backs coming out of the backfield and the tight end as your principal receivers these days. Occasionally a big bomb will work, but only very occasionally.
2nd and 5. Ball at the 37-yard line. Foreman gets another work out to the right side, and they are doing a number over there now on the Bears' left side. Foreman 1st down at the 30-yard line. Hartenstein all the way over from the right side for the stop.
But that's exactly what Frank's been talking about all night in terms of Chuck Foreman. We told you he only has 4.9 speed for the 40, but he is quick, and that was a beautiful move as he cut back.
Francis doing a real job here in the second half. Sending Foreman to the right, throwing the little short one. This man, Walter Payton, unable to exercise what he does the best, getting into the secondary and then just leaving tacklers behind. There's the little one out to Sammy White. And White is down close to a 1st down. Jerry Myers, number 74, over there to make the stop defensively for the Bears.
He is really the old master at work now, Don.
He just threw his 95% chance of completion pass out to Sammy White. Just don't go overboard.
2nd down and a yard.
That 5% is that it could slip.
I said you're hot tonight.
Hot tonight.
Ball just inside the 22-yard line. Foreman, right side. Foreman has the 1st down. Down to the 17-yard line. Jerry Myers again.
Really pretty good effort that time by old Jerry Myers to keep him going for a long way. That's Cousin George. No, it's not Cousin George. Oh, it's a friend of Howard's.
You've got a scoop.
I know it.
Looked like an old middle linebacker at first. 2nds ticking away. Francis using all the time coming out of the huddle. Vikings 24, the Bears 13. Ricky Young. But in the same geographical area over in the right side. Ricky Young down at the 12-yard line. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
A few years ago when they moved those hash marks in more in the middle of the field, in a way it really helps you. If you find a spot that you want to work on, you can really work on it more and more effectively. They keep bringing it back pretty close to the middle of the field each time so you can run both ways. And that's what they're doing. I bet he runs that bootleg thing again down here. You know, the thing that...
he's a good pal of Tucker's. He'd like to get Tucker off the hook if he could, I'm sure.
Maybe he'll do it the other way.
People don't think that exists in football. Well, it does.
It really does.
right side. This time, swarming defense by the Bears. Holds Foreman for a yard and a half. It'll be third down, and we'll call it 4.
Ottenstein tried to steal the football, but play had been called dead.
And a Viking down. It's Chuck Foreman.
Ooh. 44.
Oh, no. Hope it's not his knees.
This game, it always seems that's what you hope it's not. Being administered to there by the Vikings medical staff. Foreman on the night, 73 yards, 17 attempts.
Uh-oh.
Talking about
injury appears the right leg. We will not speculate. We'll get a report and give it to you as soon as we have it.
let's see if we can.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right on that right knee, or so it seemed. We can only hope. Just a great football player.
7:36 remaining in the game. Third down and 4. Robert Miller is in, number 35, replacing Foreman. And Ricky Young, right side again, gets the call, and Ricky Young, close to a first down. And another Viking is shaken up.
Now this is a time I think I'd really go for it.
Absolutely.
Now you go for it. It is the right knee.
The knee. And Chuck is in obvious pain with it.
Oh, no. You got another one down. Is that Young?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. I don't like to see that sort of stuff. Let's get some, how about a crowd shot?
But what you're about to say is absolutely true. Here's the time to go for it. Because they're 2 touchdowns. They need 2 touchdowns now to overtake that 11-point lead. The Bears do. And they would still be able to tie it with 2 touchdowns if they went for the field goal. Number 48 appears to be the hurt member of the Vikings team.
Timeout down in the field. And we're not going to leave it. Injured player Steve Riley, the left tackle. 78. And he's being assisted off.
He looks all right, though.
Maybe is.
Like Ranieri, a USC product. Dennis Swilley will be replacing Riley. 4th down. Field goal team stays on the sidelines. Robert Miller, 35, Ricky Young, 34 in the setbacks. 227. Stu Voigt, motion man. Ricky Young gave it a go, cutting back against the grain.
I don't think he made it.
Gary Fensick has already left the field, is starting to leave the field for the Bears. They are convinced he didn't make it.
Even if he didn't, you got 97 yards to go for 7.
And it's better than a blocked field goal. Have a 9-point lead. Another 11-point lead. We'll get a measurement. Short of the first down, so the Bears will take over. They'll have the ball at their own 7-yard line. Middle linebacker Tom Hicks doing his number on Ricky Young. There it is, turning him back.
He had Buffon actually that turned him in over there too.
Rydalch made sure, and the Bears have the football. They're down by 11 points. The Vikings leave the ball at the 7 for the Bears, but they use 5 minutes on that drive. Walter Payton, nowhere. Had no chance. Hit almost the instant he got the ball. Loss back to the 5-yard line, loss of 2.
They have been simply superb in stopping Payton, and I repeat, what they should have done was thrown him swing passes, screens, used him much more on the receiving end. Don't you agree, Dunn?
I think that's a good change of pace out there. They haven't. They've got to get their whole offense going, though. And they haven't done that in the second half.
On 2nd and 12. From the end zone, it goes to Golden Richards. He's out for the first down at the 23-yard line. Nate Allen made the stop defensively for Minnesota.
I think that's what, he's now, in a way, got to work a little bit with the clock. I'd like to, go to the outside. The Vikes are giving him a little bit of room on the outside. Take those little short ones to the outside, move it down in there. That is a place where you could use that kind of a quick screen, circle, screen, you know what I mean?
His
screen pass.
Problem is a touchdown and a field goal won't do it. He has to get 2 touchdowns. He's running out of minutes as Mark Mullaney bats it away.
Yes, he did.
5:25 now remaining in the game. It'll be 2nd and 10, and we'll look at Mullaney again.
Went to the inside with Eller. They're coming back to the outside. He's trying to flip it out here to Harper.
Mullaney and Randy Holloway represent some of that gradual youth transition we were talking about on Minnesota. And Dennis Willey, who got in there on the offensive line, is another good one.
Alan Page is out for Minnesota. James White is in. White, 72.
I'll be doggone.
Tom Hannon says he had it. And the referees agree.
How quickly they change. The fans are now beginning to leave, and you hear the boo birds.
You hear the boo birds here in Chicago.
Well, they heard him last week up in Minnesota, the Vikings in Tampa, and it all turns around so quickly. 5:17 remaining in the game, and we'll be right back. Chuck Foreman will not return, injured knee. Steve Riley, pinched nerve. He appears to be all right. He, however, will not return for the Vikings. Those are the injury reports. Right now, 1st and 10 Minnesota, 39-yard line, following a Tom Hannon interception. Tarkenton, hands off, Robert Miller over the left side. Gets a yard and a half, stopped by Mike Hartenstein. There's a young man that the Vikings think a great deal of, second-year man out of Michigan State.
One of these days they're going to say hello to Mom and Dad, too. It's just Mom they talk to.
Hi, Tommy. Meantime, Minnesota has to be thinking about Chuck Foreman. You don't replace a Chuck Foreman.
They surely don't.
Still can't get a report on the extent of his injury from the bench.
2nd down. 9, the ball at the 38. Ricky Young, right side. Line of scrimmage, and that's about all.
Young, the ball carrier. Bowen made the initial contact.
3rd down.
3rd down.
Let's see if seconds are ticking away for the Chicago Bears.
It's a good sign right there that he's up and moving around, guys, because if it's, it looked more like a hyperextension than it did that shot across the knee, which causes the real ligaments or the cartilage damage. Yeah. So maybe that's...
You just had a glimpse of another Minnesota young one, number 51. His name is Huff. He is the successor to McTingle-Huff. And he is going to be a very fine Major League football player.
Van Tarkenton just let the clock run all the way down to 1 second remaining before he would have been penalized for using too much time. Then he called timeout, walked over the bench, and is going to have a little conference with Bud Grant. All right, we'll be returning to Soldier Field in just a moment. Dallas and Washington, and how many times have you watched great football games come out of a meeting of these two teams? They'll be playing in the nation's capital. We'll be there bringing you that game. Washington under Jack Pardee, undefeated. Dallas, of course, with the one loss. 3rd down and 9. I think Francis wanted to talk to Bud Grant. What will we do? We're in total command, 24-13, 3:52 remaining in the game. And we've got a 3rd and 9. What will I do? This is his answer. Ricky Young gets the ball on the sweep.
He says, I think I'll just pick it up, run him with it.
And Ricky Young gets down to the 31-yard line, short of the 1st down, and Chicago wants a timeout.
I'd go for it again.
I would too.
Run one more time.
He's that close that it's worth it. That would still leave Chicago with 70 yards to go downfield.
Field goal's not going to help them that much. So let's just try one more time. They pick it up. Run to the right side of your line. Let's say, give it to Ricky Young. You gonna give it to Young?
Yeah.
Okay,
with
give it to Young.
Foreman out, you got to. Rideoffs is back in there.
Well, I don't know. Robert Miller may just do some high stepping over there too.
There's the conference on the bench. Bob Tucker in the middle of it, along with the other tight end, Steve Craig. Francis in there talking it over with the boys. Phones ringing upstairs. Bud Grant, great athlete, University of Minnesota. Played a couple of years with the Philadelphia Eagles, 2nd in the league 1 year, and over 50 receptions. Then went up, outstanding performer at Winnipeg. Later became a coach, won a whole bunch of playoffs up there, including a couple of Grey Cups.
It was Jim Finks who hired him when he was the general manager of the Vikes, and it was Jim Finks who hired Grant's disciple, Neil Armstrong, now that Jim is the general manager of the Bears.
The Vikes get a chance to redeem their loss to Tampa next week, and Oakland comes in here to Chicago to test the Bears again.
That'll get the Bears' attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Bears played Oakland a great game a couple of years back. Again, an official call was the determinant.
4th and 3. Robert Miller. The Bears will get the football at the 32-yard line. They have 3:34 on the clock. They have 2 timeouts.
I said Ricky Young. They didn't listen.
No, it's my fault because I suggested Miller late. You know, I thought it was kind of a mix-up in the exchange there. I didn't think that it didn't look to me like the Viking offensive line got off at the same time. That could have been because they got the new center in there.
It becomes clearer and clearer. We've got to start sending in the plays.
Whoa.
Well, I don't know clear and clear, but it's getting louder and louder, isn't it? We got to watch that.
On 1st down. Avellini knows what he has to do. He doesn't have much time to do it. He goes out to the tight end, Latta.
Out of bounds, Latta. He'll try to save time.
And the clock continues to move. Latta short of the 1st down, 39-yard line. Gain of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Matt Blair made the stop.
He certainly wasn't thinking the tight end Latta on that play because he's cost his team a large number of seconds.
Well, he hasn't had much practice. It's only his 2nd reception of the year.
And thinking.
You said that.
I know.
2nd and 3. And there's the crowd. Matt Blair hustling in there. Sutherland in there on top.
You can just hear this rumbling in the crowd. They're all going, no, I'm going to go home.
The ones that are still remaining.
Yeah, that's right. Here we got another shot at it. He didn't make much of a move. Sutherland says, okay.
Sutherland just came right over Reeby. Sorry.
Mullaney was in the area.
3rd down and a biggie.
He doesn't realize it, but it's only on 3rd down. 14 yards to go.
Bears working on the clock now. They're not in necessarily any hurry. Avellini's first sack of the night. 3rd down, 14. Fired complete, short of the 1st down. Latta again. Now it'll be 4th down and 7.
There's Ricky Young. Sorry, Ricky, we thought you should have been given the chance to get the 1st down.
That was your suggestion, I told you.
4th down. 7 yards to go for the Bears.
2:27 remaining. The Bears heading for their first defeat. Obviously, they'll be going for it.
I'd try a quick kick. Catch them by surprise. Still a lot of time, boy. And this game's not over. They're out to light The party's over. They say that all.
Greg Latta. Oh, and they moved this way back from where he was hit, and the crowd that remains here doesn't like it.
There's a flag down. We got that'll add to it. I think it's a good call, though, Frank. I think Latta came back to make that catch, trying to get away from the defensive player, and then they pushed him back some more.
Well, they'll talk it over and let us know.
All I see is striped shirts.
Have your vision checked.
Taking a vote.
Well, I know. Oh, there's another one.
16 penalties on the night. Not one of your artistic successes.
I think they should vote, send out their best man, each side, and let them settle it right out there in the middle. Buffon is volunteering for his side. I'll go.
Yeah, what Tarkenton was doing out there.
Buffon says, I want you to send out Tarkenton, one-on-one. Francis said he don't want to go.
Procedure call goes against the Bears, and sportsmanlike conduct goes against the Vikings. And Buffon says, huh? Buffon, of course, the defensive captain of the Bears, out there helping out the offense. What we have is a measurement.
Fans are asking us what's going on.
No, they're asking you what's going on.
I'm still counting the officials.
All right. If that had not been a first down, would Minnesota have taken over? Was that what happened in offsetting penalties, and so the play stands?
It was not offsetting penalties.
That's right. We've got to remember the new
rules. Not offsetting penalties.
Well, then what does that mean if they've got...
The ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on Minnesota for kicking the ball, both fouls after the ball was dead. The ball was a first down, so it'll be a first down.
That's it. Boy, I love the respect.
My Brad Kasha giving us the word. Short while later. 41-yard line for the Bears, 1st and 10. Harper steps out of bounds after a pickup of 7 yards at the 48-yard line. Two timeouts remaining now for both clubs. Of course, it only is meaningful for the Chicago Bears.
Look, let's explain. Under the new rule, had the ball not been dead, as the official explained, the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct would have been exercised. But the ball was dead. The infraction occurred after that.
23 set.
Golden Richards was open, and Avellini overthrows. Nate Allen covering Golden Richards. And he took quite a shot after he delivered. 2:03 remaining. Clock, of course, stopped with the incompletion. Now watch this. Avellini waits till Richards.
That's Sutherland.
Clears, and Sutherland, who has been playing in Avellini's backfield all night, is right there.